What's up, guys? Welcome to SpawnCast Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, every Saturday night. I have a couple people here with me. We have our returning guest, Sean from RGT85. Sean, how are you tonight?
Greetings. Doing good. Doing good.
Good, man. That's good to hear. I know you played Call of Duty like I did, so I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun talking about that one because there's actually some stuff I wanted to talk about when it came to that game. But let's go back down the list here. We also have Max is back from his Halloween extravaganza last weekend. Max, how are you doing tonight, man?
Very good and not hungover, and I've played a lot of bad games that make me wish I was hungover.
Yes, you actually have played Sonic Forces.
Yes, I've beaten Sonic Forces in every special stage, every secret, everything, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Very good. And then we have the very somber Evan over there from the recent closures of a studio that backed one of his one of your more recent favorite games.
Yeah, it's still super sad, still hurts, but I guess we'll talk about it at some point.
That might be the first thing we actually talk about here in a second, just because I want to get out of the way. I'd like to get out of the way because it's there is a lot of games and other stuff to talk about. But so we have a lot of stuff actually. I'm not used to it because usually I do the news stuff throughout the week, and I felt like every day when I was doing it, I felt like there wasn't a lot of news. And then I went back to look at what was going on in the week, and I realized there was actually a lot of stuff when I added it all up at the end. So we'll have quite a bit of stuff. And then I forgot that Max even had Sonic Forces and had played it. So this might get out of control a little bit here. But let's get into the Perfect World closed Runic, right, Evan?
Well, Runic's one of the companies, and if you guys are familiar with Torchlight, that's the company that made it. They just closed them down. They recently released a game which I can never remember the name of. It was a single player, Hob. It was the platforming adventure game. It looked really interesting, but I guess not a lot of people played it. And I mean, Perfect World decided that this was their moment to look at their least earning companies and just cut the fat, I guess, at that point, which happened to just ricochet over to a company that released their game to the public only about maybe a little over half a year ago, and since that hadn't really made really good strides and immediate turnaround in revenue, they just looked at them and said, "You guys are screwed too. See ya."
So what happened with the Gigantic team then? They've just been cut down drastically
to bare minimum, as far as I can tell, just enough people to maintain servers at this point. They claim they're going to keep putting out content. The November patch that was coming up should almost be done anyway before the guys just got laid off, which it came as a huge surprise. Everything on Twitter was just business as usual. Then all of a sudden the head of the team was like, "Well, I'm out of a job." And that was the official announcement of the team just getting disbanded, I guess, at that point.
It's kind of a shame. I thought Gigantic actually had a lot of potential behind it.
It did. They were working on making it more like universal, because the issue now is because what Microsoft did with them before Perfect World bottom, the engine they had to create to get it to work cross-platform required too much memory. It was like 6 gigs or something required of RAM at all times for that game, which is nuts when you compare it to others. And that's RAM for the game specifically. So if you only have 6 gigs in your computer, you're not playing.
So was streaming kind of difficult for it then?
No, streaming. I mean, my computer's got like 12 so far. That's perfectly fine. But the core issue was not a lot of people could get into it, and they were working towards making that better, but they shut it down before it even happened. So
it's a shame. It's not fun when studios close, obviously.
No.
Especially towards the
especially innovative ones that actually are trying to make something that isn't just this is the name and this is the number we're at afterwards.
So what have we all been playing this week? I forgot to ask that last week, but what's everyone been playing this week? We can talk about that before we get into some of the news and stuff that happened.
I put a lot of hours into Call of Duty. I think I probably put 27 or 35 hours into Call of Duty for my review, and then I put a couple hours into Sonic Forces, but it's really short, so it didn't take a lot of hours to finish it.
So I wanted to talk about this too, because I think everybody except for Evan played Call of Duty.
Yeah, I'm just still avoiding it.
Yeah, Evan's not a big Call of Duty person, but I saw, Sean, you made a video about Call of Duty, and you were kind of on the fence about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just, in my opinion, it's very dated. And although I do like the fact that they got rid of the futuristic stuff, because I thought that was just stupid as hell. Maybe World War II wasn't the best decision to go to. Like, how many times have you stormed the beaches and like of Normandy and like Medal of Honors and stuff. I don't know, just and the maps, like I find all the online maps just to be extremely like boring and like there's no flavor to them. There's nothing that makes them stand out. You know, there's some interesting set pieces, but you know, it's the same Call of Duty that you've played a million times. And I know it, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I really think the franchise just needs like 2 years off and, you know, just to sort of reboot, you know, maybe retool things. I don't know. It's not a bad game. If you're a fan of Call of Duty, you haven't played a Call of Duty in a while, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of it. I do have moments of fun, but just for the most part, it's just, if the game wasn't called Call of Duty, people would just be calling it a generic World War II shooter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There was a thing when I was playing it. So I played the single player for a bit. I played actually multiplayer up until we went live here. And one thing I noticed, there's definite difference between single player and multiplayer. I don't know if you guys ever really know. Like, it seems like they actually took some chances and made the game different in single player. But then I play multiplayer, and it feels like the same Call of Duty I've been playing this whole time. It's really weird.
The reason I like the multiplayer so much, because man, I am addicted to hell, is the fact that it's so streamlined. I feel like so much of Call of Duty has just tried to expand and expand and expand. And the last I checked, they had some system called like Pick 20, where every time you put on an equipment piece, it counted as a point. And so you'd literally have like a thing where you could detect people's heart rate and make it where you could pick up extra ammo or have all these extra throwing grenades and stuff. Yep. And like all this stuff that just upped the ante. And so it feels so good to me to just see it scaled back. So it is literally just class system again. Like I think the whole the operator system, as they call it, where you pick whether you want to be like a mountaineer, which is somebody who can carry shotguns, and if he carries a shotgun, they're flame rounds by default. My personal favorite, which is what do they call them? The airborne division. They're the people who can sprint longer, and their SMGs are automatically silenced. Like, I think it's one of those things where it needed to just be really taken down to its core. And I appreciate that. And granted, I haven't played the last like 5 Call of Duties. I've played less than 5 hours total. So it could just be that, like Sean was saying, it seems fresh to me.
Here's my thought here. Why in the single player did it seem like they tried to go away from Call of Duty a little bit? Like, they don't have any regenerating health in single player. They have this interesting mechanic where you refill your health with med packs, right? Yeah. They even have a moment in time where you have somebody who will throw ammo to you to increase, like, to refill your ammo. Why didn't they add any of that into the multiplayer? Why didn't they have like a class system where you could have a medic? You didn't have regenerating health. It almost felt like they were afraid to mess with the multiplayer too much because they didn't want to alienate the competitive, I guess, crowd for Call of Duty.
Well, the real reason is, and this is totally true, Sledgehammer Games has dual divisions, and a separate team makes multiplayer from single player. And a lot of times they don't really talk. So that's why, in most multiplayer games, you'll see like a single player map represented in some way. We don't see that in Sledgehammer Call of Duty games because literally they're not even emailing each other. It's like, okay, cool. Oh, you're putting that kind of health system? That's great. All right, I'll be over here putting laser rifles. You know?
And honestly, it wouldn't alienate the competitive crowd. It would alienate the casual crowd. The game that I played, Dirty Bomb, does that, and it's near impossible to get an ammo giver to give anyone ammo in that entire game at a casual level. So it's just one of those functions where it's cool for a competitive scene, but then it sucks when you go to the public play.
Well, and Zombies does have that. Zombies actually does have usable items where you actually, from loot crates, which obviously I hated, I dedicated a large part of the review to hating on it, you actually, med packs, health packs, and ammo packs affect everybody. So if one person times it, you can actually communicate and be like, hey, I'm very low on ammo. And you could be like, well, I'm only halfway low on ammo, but I have 5 of these ammo packs. So I'll go and use one now. And everybody on the map instantly gets full ammo so you can survive that wave.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like the multiplayer just still feels like generic Call of Duty. Maybe that's a good thing. I'm sure there's a lot of people who bought it hoping that it would just be that, and it would just be like Call of Duty 2 or World War II guns, and things like that, and that's fine. But I feel like Sean may have a point. We see Call of Duty every single year, and I feel like for some, including myself, fatigue does kind of start to set in with the Call of Duty series, and I feel like something like Assassin's Creed, I think really benefited from having a year off.
I think also it's that we're ultra hardcore gamers. We're playing everything that comes out and we're on top of stuff. So a generic shooter coming out is incredibly bland to us. Whereas to the average person who, like statistics show, only buys 2 games a year, then they probably make it the biggest new game that, like, okay, Horizon Zero Dawn, which did sell like hotcakes, and then they get something like Call of Duty. It's like, okay, that's my two games. And so I think that's the kind of demographic they aim for, is the casual people who have just $120 to waste every month or every year.
Yeah, they buy like 2 games a year. Yeah, like Call of Duty's the one, and maybe Madden is the other.
Is anyone having like severe issues with the online as far as like server stuff goes? Because like that was like half the time when I finish a match, like I can't even like go to my loadouts, and sometimes the loadouts freeze, and then sometimes it just freezes indefinitely. Like.
So, and I figured that's what happened. That's why I tested out the multiplayer a lot before the servers went public, because I figured that would happen. The most annoying thing to me, and I really hope they fix it, is I'll pick up like 5 daily quests and I'll start working on them, and then I'll try and load back to the lobby, and the server will just be like, you should pick up daily quests. And it's like, the fuck am I doing, homie?
Yeah. I see it a lot too, where they keep resetting and they keep asking you to do it. But I do see that they are definitely pushing games as a service into Call of Duty. You just said the daily quests, right? The supply drops, all this stuff. It's very games as a service. They want you to come back every single day and play more of them. It feels almost like how a mobile game will kind of do that to you. Yeah. Except a mobile game really only wants you to stop by for a little bit and then, you go away kind of thing.
And so many mobile games have that lobby. That's like a big thing now, is jealousy of trying to make you want what another player has. And the fact that you can literally stand there and watch people. This is by far my biggest gripe with it.
It's amazing.
You watch other people open loot boxes and it plays all these happy sounds. Like, people don't realize that's a big psychological aspect of casinos, is making you envy the winners and picture yourself as it. And so it definitely seems like when everybody's dropping loot crates, you can just like look around the environment and there's people like, congratulations, you suck slightly less. It's like, this is so ridiculous.
It is amazing the way they did that. I mean, it's smart on their part, but it's definitely them kind of exploiting that feeling of like, of hoping that you're going to win. If I buy this next, supply drop or whatever, I'll get them next time. I'll get the credit card out now and start trying to win. And it's a shame. So, Sean, you're like on the fence about Call of Duty still. You're not really sure if it's something you really enjoy or.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, probably, in the next few days, I'll never touch it again.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and we did have it. I assume you had it sent to you as well from
yes,
good buddies at Screenwave.
Yes,
they get us the hookup, so thanks to them. And then Max, you probably have a tie-in with
Activision.
Yeah, Max knows everybody, guys. He knows everyone.
Only from years of emailing people like, hey, can you send me your game? I promise I barely suck. I'm like, all right, fine, here we go. Shut up.
That's good though. But I like the single player more than the multiplayer. I think I like the single player just because it was super gritty. Like, just right in the beginning. I know, Sean, you said it's something we've played already with something like Medal of Honor back in the day, Frontline. But I thought about that too. And that game came out in like 2002 or something like that.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking at this Call of Duty and I'm playing it, and it sounds super weird, probably to some of the younger audience. It's weird that I'm about to say this about Call of Duty, but when I was playing this Call of Duty, I was running off of nostalgia almost. How weird does that sound about Call of Duty? I'm running off of nostalgia because I was one of the people who actually played the original Call of Duty back in the day in 2003 when it came out on PC. I actually played that a lot for like the single player aspect and everything. And then I'm playing this game and I'm getting some flashbacks to how old school Call of Duty used to be. And that might be why I'm enjoying the single player more than the multiplayer, because when I play the multiplayer, some people on there have played Call of Duty every single year. So they're just ridiculously good at the game, right? You spawn, you're dead. You spawn, you're dead sometimes. Then you're good for a little while and then you get killed right away. And there are some really good people on there that kind of, I think, hurt the fun for a lot of people. But when I'm playing the single player, man, I don't know, it just feels like there's no regenerating health. No one's jumping off of walls with crossbows that have electricity and whips and stuff. And it feels like old school Call of Duty.
So one of my favorite first-person shooter story missions ever is in Medal of Honor Underground, where you actually have that mission where instead of having a gun, you just have paperwork, and you're like sneaking through this Nazi base, and wherever you pull the trigger, you just like basically set your passport on their nose. Well, they have a mission where you do that in this game. Did you do that yet?
No, I haven't done that yet.
It's super legit. You actually have to memorize your paperwork, and as you're going through here, you're like looking for a Nazi officer in a gray uniform. And so as you're trying to find him, like when you walk up to people and talk to him, they're like, "Well, I think he's in the basement." And so you go down there and talk to him, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, show me your papers." And then they'll quiz you and be like, "Why are you here? What's your purpose?" And so you like keep having to be interrogated until you find the right like traitorous Nazi to buy bombs off of. And the whole thing is really, really tense because it's just so full. I feel like that's my favorite part about the single player is that the maps are just so full of Nazis. You really feel like you're just like, oh man, like the German war machine was extremely powerful. When they took over France, every building was just Nazi headquarters now. So walking around, you realize like, man, like we really kicked their asses, but damn, it was scary as hell. It's so cool.
All right. So that's a cool concept for a mission. I still got to finish playing all the way through it. How long was it? Was it a longer campaign?
It's about 6.5 hours on normal difficulty.
Okay. That's not too bad. All right, yeah. I can get through that. It looks like they kind of broke it up into missions too. So it's pretty straightforward. So I'm at least going to finish the single player, and then I probably won't play much more in the multiplayer, to be honest. Especially when Rocket League comes out on the Switch, which is coming like 10 days from now. I probably won't be playing much, to be honest. I'll be playing Rocket League on the Switch a lot. Just because I love that game. But what else did you guys play? You guys do more Mario Odyssey?
Yes,
the tiniest bit. I've been busy with Sonic.
You know what? Just tell us about Sonic, man.
It's awful. Okay, that's all we need to say.
People about to start calling your house now, man.
It's man, and I feel like Sonic fans are gonna have to defend this. And I just want to say, good games don't need to be defended. Dude,
First of all, before you start that, dude, you've seen YouTube, right? How many people are mad at you for your Sonic Forces thing? I saw you put it up on Twitter too. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, so many people are like sending me death threats and stuff about Sonic right now, and it's like nobody is defending Skyrim, nobody's defending Mario Odyssey because it doesn't need to be defended. It's a great game. Whereas like this is it's short and it's really bad. Like my biggest problem is the fact that the level design is really, really, really rigid. Like you basically it almost feels like playing Guitar Hero a lot of times because you're just running along and you're just trying to press jump, slide, boost, dash like at the right times. Like there are certain segments where you can literally just beat with your eyes closed because it's just
like a rhythm. It's like a rhythm game almost.
It feels very much like a rhythm game in a weird way. And so a lot of times when I was recording footage, I'd beat a level. Most levels are about 90 seconds. There's only about 30 levels. So you beat a level, and then I would just press record and play back through that level because it's so simple. Once you know the couple little secrets and jumps, you literally just go right back through it. And the second time, you know, okay, here's where I boost. Here's where I get the grapple hook.
It's 90 seconds to beat a map or beat a level?
Each map is about 90 seconds to 2 minutes.
Wow.
Bosses are about 3 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah, and most of the bosses are incredibly simple. I was going against one of the major bosses. We were going against Infinite at one point with the custom character, which is so dumb. And I literally stood in the middle of the map pressing whip for 2 minutes. I literally just kept doing a whip attack, and he was like, "You want to see my real power? Oh no! You want to see my real power? Oh no!" For 2 minutes, like, oh god, like I can't believe I'm doing this.
So you're saying Sonic Mania was a better Sonic?
Yes, yeah, and that's what's so crazy. And already I was murmuring about the fact that Sonic Mania was so good, and Sonic fans were getting really mad. Like, how dare you compare them? Like, look, bro, these are both Sonic games. They both came out in 2017. They both have a lot of 2D aspects. I'm going to compare the two. Sonic Mania is so much better. And
is it possible that the demo was only 60-second playthroughs because they didn't want you to finish the game or to finish the map in 90 seconds?
Yes, they would have. In 100%, that's what it was. Is you would have realized that it was just that short. Like, oh my god, like most levels, even the later levels. So what's weird is the later levels actually do get cooler once it seems like they don't trust you to have all these big, complex, cool levels until at the end of the game, all of a sudden there's just these 10 really cool levels. And it's like, why didn't you put the good level design at the start to make me want to play? Like literally the first like 80% of the game is a horrible slog.
That's weird. Okay,
I'm gonna do my full review like Monday afternoon is when I'm gonna have it up. So, but man,
is that when the embargo's up?
No, I don't have an embargo. I just bought since I got a street date. But what I want to do is I'll just put it up Monday afternoon about when the game comes out in New Zealand, and if Sega takes it down, well, then I'll make a rant about it.
Wait, okay, so the game's out in New Zealand on Monday?
Well, because technically, New Zealand is closest to the date line, so
That
New
makes
Zealand
sense.
becomes the new day the soonest. So games technically released in New Zealand like 13 hours before everywhere else.
That makes sense. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Now I'll be curious to see what people say about your review. I'm sure that'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean it's whatever. Whatever. Like they're gonna make more videos being like, you don't understand anything about Sonic, even though you've beaten every Sonic game, read the Sonic comics, collect Sonic action figures. I have a Sonic shot glass, but I don't know anything about Sonic. I've never played a Sonic game apparently.
Well, it's gonna be more interesting when the reviews from the bigger places come out and they're around what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then people are just gonna it's bad because I think there was a lot of hope put into Sonic Forces for a 3D Sonic being good. I haven't played more than 60 seconds of a time for Sonic Forces, so I couldn't tell you. But there is a serious fear, I think, with the community because everyone wants that one good 3D Sonic game, right? Everybody wants, like even Sonic Adventure 1 wasn't very good at all. Sonic
I like
2
that.
wasn't very good. Like but if you really got it down and look at it, like I liked it back in the day because when I had the Dreamcast, man, and you're playing it and that whale starts like destroying the bridge, I thought it was the coolest looking thing I've ever seen, you know? But if you go back and watch, it's just
I want to say without any spoilers, I think the Sonic community is going to be pretty mad at this game too. There is a giant lie in the marketing, and when people start playing this, they're going to be extremely mad about something.
Interesting. Oh, okay, that'll be interesting. Chad says, I wonder how much turnover a Sonic team has. The credits change radically between games. Heard it. So that was something else. He's putting out something here. I saw this as well. This popped up. The credits in, was it Sonic Forces? I think it was Sonic Forces, the way he's saying. Very different from other Sonic games. And they continue to be different. So I had that same thought as well. I wonder if like the teams change so radically because it like Generations, I guess, was a good Sonic game, but that's about it, right? I mean, there hasn't really been a really good Sonic game that's 3D.
Well, if people talk about Sonic Colors, the Sonic community loves Sonic Colors. It's a really great one. I still actually keep it in my desk just so I can play it occasionally. That's a great one, but I mean, how long ago? That was on the original DS. That was probably 10 years ago now.
Someone else, Sean asked, what about Sonic Mania creators making a 3D Sonic? See, the people with the Sonic Mania, they specialize in 2D Sonic. They were fans who loved rebuilding like the Sonic games in 2D. And I have a feeling if you ask them, even they might like run away screaming if you ask them to do that.
That guy, Christian Whitehead, is like a genius of 2D coding. One of his first assignments when he got hired by Sega was to do a full restore of Sega CD or Sonic CD for cell phones, and he did it flawlessly. So I think if you gave him a 3D project, it would be a little bit outside his expertise.
Well, let me ask Sean about how he feels about Sonic Forces right now. He hasn't played it, neither have I, but what are you thinking there, man?
I mean, I don't know. I still bought it. I
know you want it to be good, man. I know you do. Like I want it to be good too. I really wanted Sonic Forces to be like, I haven't played it, so I'll judge it when I play it. But I want it to be good too.
I don't even necessarily think that it's gonna be good. Okay, here's a great analogy. If they just did like a Call of Duty World War II with it and made it like a serviceable game that maybe fans would enjoy, maybe. But
Sonic Adventure 3 is what you're saying. Something like that.
I'm totally up for a retread. I'm so much of like, let's just get Sonic and make a good like basic one to prove we can still do it. We're at this point where it's been so long since a good Sonic, like besides Mania, it is kind of that one where it's like, did you guys just forget how to make running fun?
Right. So is this says there we go. Jintoki Cruise 1 says, I'd rather have Nintendo make a 3D open Sonic game. I like to say that about Nintendo. They could, if anyone could make a good Sonic game, I'm sure they could. I say the same thing about Mega Man a lot of times, but I don't even know if Nintendo wants to take a shot at that one. I don't know. It's tough. Sonic is in a weird position right now. He's good at 2D. Unfortunately, 2D Sonic games, I don't think have enough content to sell for $60. Like they want to find a game that they could sell for $60 that has Sonic on it. And it's I think it's telling that Sonic Forces is what, $40?
Yeah, $40, yeah. And it comes with special DLC where you could play as Shadow, episode Shadow.
I saw that. Yeah. I mean, right now the most entertaining thing about Sonic apart from Mania is Sonic's Twitter account.
Yeah.
Sonic's Twitter account is outstanding. If you don't follow it, you need to go follow it. It is awesome. I don't know. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy Sonic Force when it comes out. It's out. Is it out Tuesday?
Yes, the 7th. Yeah,
the 7th.
See, I'll get it on the Switch, especially since you just told me, Max, that it's 90 seconds for a level. That seems perfect for the Switch's portable nature.
Yeah. You can easily beat it in an afternoon. So just like turn on a movie, turn on like a boring movie. You'll definitely see the final movie. There's really like half the game is cutscenes. So if you skip the cutscenes, you'll literally be done in 90 minutes easily.
Oh my gosh, jeez. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So they have some long cutscenes. Are they fleshing out some of the lore then?
Sort of. It's weird they brought back like every Sonic hero and villain ever. Like literally all these side characters all show up, but you don't play as them. And a lot of times they pretend like they're about to be a playable character and then don't. Like Silver will walk out or something and be like, all right, guys, this is my level. And then Sonic will be like, nope, I got this every single time. So it looks like you're going to be playing more than just the 2 Sonics and the created character, but nope, you don't. And it looks like you're going to be fighting a bunch of villains, but you don't. They literally every villain from the whole series shows up and about halfway through, they all go like, never mind and leave.
Oh man, I had a lot of hope for Sonic Forces, to be honest. I really did.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see how that turns out. That's out on Tuesday, and I'll be picking it up and I guess seeing how things go. You played the PS4 version, right?
Yeah. That's just what the guy offered me at the time. So I was like, yeah, mail me that. That'll be fine.
Sure. I guess I'll get those. I assume, Sean, you're getting the Switch version as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Switch version. All right, cool. Is that on PC also?
If it is, it'll probably come out in a couple weeks or months, like Mania had to do.
Okay, I didn't know if it was. I know it was on the consoles. I didn't know if it was going. Oh, it is. There it is. Yep. There you go, Evan. You could pick it up.
No, I'm good.
What does it even need to play? It probably doesn't need anything. 750 Ti. That's about right.
We need to talk about a game. We need to talk about a game real quick.
All right, what's that?
Get into this. More fight. More fight.
You know, I bought it the other day and I haven't played it yet.
Man, that game. I don't know why it resonated with me so well.
It's No Man's Sky, right?
It's No Man's Sky Prime.
Oh, okay.
It's got some Metroid Prime aspects to it. Just, I don't know. I guess because the fact that No Man's Sky was like a $60 game and it was just such a big disappointment. And then this game comes along and it's like $15. You get the same sort of thing, different planets with different, animals and fauna and stuff. The combat is decent enough. There's, Metroid-esque stuff like doors you can only use certain, missiles on and whatnot. If you play through the story, you could get through it in probably 7, 8, 9 hours. But like part of the fun is just visiting these other planets. Like I was going to these other planets and finding like life forms that I didn't know existed and stuff within the game. Just a really fun game, and I think it's a game that is going to fly under the radar for a lot of Switch owners because all the shit coming out this month. But I highly recommend it. I did a video on it today. I finally finished it. And
I'll play it, man. But man, Mario Odyssey has taken over my Switch.
Oh, I mean, same. Like I'm going through and like the crazy thing about Odyssey is just the amount of new stuff I'm still discovering.
Yeah,
it's like holy shit, man! How much stuff is in this game?
Yeah, they packed some content in there, man.
I recently found out how to when I became Yoshi. That blew my mind. I'm literally like 65 hours into it, and I found Yoshi, and it was like, what?
Yeah,
the hell?
It's amazing. It like opens up a whole nother part of the game.
Yeah,
it's so cool. Yeah, it's not for like people who you'll get it later on in the game. It's not till the end of the game, but it's a cool little thing. And at this point, it's all over people's thumbnails. It's everywhere now, so people pretty much know now. But I mean, honestly, how long has Odyssey been out for? A week now? You should know. You should already have Yoshi by now. At this point, Max in trouble.
The crucifixion has begun.
Oh man, I can already feel the hate videos. All right, hello gentlemen, nice to see you. Go ahead and cut this clip out. Spoiler asshole. No,
Max, how did you run across those people who made like videos responding to your Sonic Forces stuff?
Because I googled Sonic Forces to see what my search ranking was, and those popped up right beneath it. Like, oh, what the heck? I was like, oh, okay, well, that's that.
Yeah, everyone in the chat. Last week we had a like goal. What was it? Like 300? It was 300.
300, yeah.
300. And we got past that pretty quick. But I told Evan there's absolutely no way we could get 500 likes at all. So don't even try. I mean, it was a shame because we ended up on trending.
There's no way. There's just no way now.
500 is too far away. We can't make 500 likes. It's impossible. So the rest about Mario Odyssey, that's the problem. I see a lot of people doing podcasts and stuff. They talk about Mario Odyssey, but they're so scared to talk about anything about Mario Odyssey. They have to be super vague. And that's kind of a shame because it is super easy to spoil that game, I guess, to a degree. Although I see some people say like spoilers about you becoming a T-Rex.
Yeah, right.
Like, that was the first thing they showed us. You know, that is weird. Did you guys think that was odd that you become a T-Rex in like the first hour of the game?
I was going to say, I think that's one of those things they moved. I'm always interested in how they make games, and occasionally, if you tease something early on and everybody really latches onto it, they'll try and move it in a game. And since you don't really do anything else with that T-Rex in that entire level, I do think it was one of those things that was probably a part of a later world that looked cool, and then everybody became obsessed with it in the marketing, and they're like, all right, front load that, like put it in world 1, so as soon as they start playing, they have a story to tell and a screenshot to share.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you thinking over there, Sean?
First off, the T-Rex was amazing.
Yeah,
I love all of his visitations, but I feel like there's more because like at first it was just that it was the intro, thing that happens in the first 10 minutes, and then the one, the special thing in New Donk. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, he's in there twice. But then I found him again in another level. So now I'm like, I'm almost thinking to myself, is he like hidden in every level? Like, I don't know. I don't think he is, but he keeps popping up. And like, now I've seen him 3 times in 3 different levels. And it's like, I wonder how often you're in this game.
That would actually be cool if they hit him in every single level. That would be neat.
Because like the third one, like he just popped out of nowhere. And I'm like, you've never been here before. I'm just looking for, additional moons and stuff.
I love that he gets his own song. When you like put on the hat, you have like the T-Rex music. I love that it's one of those evolving experiences, whereas you unlock more moons and more stuff keeps getting unlocked. It literally, like, revisiting worlds continues to be just as interesting, even if it's the 10th or 20th revisit.
Yeah. Oh man, I haven't actually done that part in New Donk City yet, so I'll go check it out.
No, it's so good.
Yeah, I just like walking around. It's so weird. Like I'll just mess around in New Donk City. It's so funny. You jump off of taxis and go flying, and you have those tiny little traffic things that flick you around and stuff. And man, there's so much hidden in that. It feels like New Donk City is bigger than the other levels completely. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's buildings and you can keep they hide stuff better. I don't know. I mean, I know it's basically the same size as the others, but it feels like there's just so much more going on in there. Okay, so let's get into some of the news. I think we talked about most of the games that we've been playing because I've been stuck on Mario Odyssey and Call of Duty. And Evan, I assume you've been stuck on Destiny.
Yeah, just cleared the raid yesterday. So
what is it? September over here? Jeez.
Yeah, for real.
Old game. Nah, just kidding. Yeah, no, I mean, it just came out on PC pretty recently. Are you hitting 60 in that game, by the way?
60 FPS? Yeah, I think so.
Nice. That makes it so much better. It really does. I mean,
there's a patch problem though. Their last hotfix causes stutter with some hardware. So basically, every couple seconds, you just have a 1/10 of a second freeze up for no reason.
Oh, nice! Oh, nice. Weird. Lawbreakers had that. It was great.
Yep, super fun right now in PvP. They just dropped Trials of the 9 on PC, and you're playing it, and you just freeze up every couple of seconds. Not
Lawbreakers. Are people still playing Lawbreakers? I feel like Max, if you and I jumped in, we would be able to do a 1v1 match.
Yeah, what's his name? Cliff Blazinski did an interview a couple weeks ago, and he's like, "I'm tired of all these people scanning the PC servers and acting like the game is dead. I promise, right now, somebody is playing on PlayStation 4. That community is thriving." Like, okay, buddy. Like, sure. I played it on PS4, and I definitely had troubles finding games. So
he seems really like touchy about that. Like I don't think he's happy with how things went for him.
Yeah,
I think that game's gonna have to go free to play eventually.
Yeah, there are already murmurs that they're going to have to do that. So I follow their PR team, like their main PR people on Twitter, because I was honestly, I just wanted to see how they were freaking out about it. And they got real quiet. Like beforehand, they were at all these big events of like, check out this, like retweeting like Lawbreakers tattoos and stuff. Now the game's out. And all of a sudden they're like, hey guys, you guys really excited for upcoming games? Please let me know. I need a job.
Oh man, that's bad. Yeah, I feel I don't know. They made a very generic shooter compared to everything else, so
Yeah.
it was bound to have. It's not the '90s anymore, unfortunately. So
yeah, I just so many small things in that game annoyed me. Like I never thought I'd say this, but when you pick up the ball is like this little AI brain, and it talks to you, and it has the most annoying like, "Hey, capture me! Hey, let's do this! Whoa!" And I was just like, "Oh my god, where in the options do I shut this off?" And I couldn't. So every time I picked up the ball, I was like, "I can't wait till someone kills me and I lose this game."
So the Xbox One X is out Tuesday. I don't know if my GameStop's having a midnight release. I'll have to find out on Monday night. Is anybody getting one?
No. I was going to, and I thought about it. And then all the early reviews said that there's no point with a standard definition television. So I canceled my pre-order.
Okay. I think Digital Foundry did some stuff, and they found frame rates were better in some games, but it wasn't like eye-opening. So I don't know how crazy it's gonna be. I mean, I'm getting the Scorpio edition, so I'm gonna stick with it just because it's the Scorpio edition.
Yeah.
But I guess I know Evan's not getting one, so I guess it's I guess I'm the only one getting one then. Man, I wonder if that's how it is. Like you ask 4 people and one of them is getting it. Like it's like 25%.
Well, we got to fill that spot on the back wall for you to be able to move back over and start recording again.
Dude, I'll have the Scorpio box too. I'll have the sweet box. It's supposed to be like a green. So I'm actually excited to see the look of it. It's gonna be like this nice little green Xbox.
I hear every 100th box actually has a live scorpion in it, so it's just such an adventure.
That would be great. That would make for a good unboxing.
I don't know. I was on an Xbox podcast a couple weeks ago, and all of them were buying the Xbox One X. But not only that, a lot of them bought games that they won't play until they get their X. Like all of them were talking about how they're excited for Assassin's Creed, but they would not put the disc in until they had an Xbox One X. So there is an audience out there. It's just not us.
Why is that the case? Why would they just play the game?
They kept saying that it's in the future. They're like, we're just pretending that game comes out November 7th. So anytime people talk about it, we call them time travelers because for the X, it doesn't exist yet. Like,
but do they have do they have like an Xbox One S?
Yeah, so they have an S, so it would be like decent, but they just want because from all the people I've been talking to who have the Xbox One X for a review, they've said Assassin's Creed is the most substantial boost in graphics. So I think that Xbox fanboys have already heard about that, and so they really want to jump into that first. So yeah, we'll see.
But how would you be able to tell if you didn't play it on the S?
That's so weird.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's not comparatively, but I think if you're going into something the first time, you want it to be the best experience. Sure. So they want to go into the best game that'll have the biggest upgrades. So obviously I'm not the one buying it, but they're doing it and they seem happy with their purchase.
It's interesting because I know that they made a pretty easy way for you to just transfer stuff from the S to the X even. But I guess I don't know. It seems interesting that that's what they're doing. They're holding off. I figured Battlefront 2 would have been like the first big one for a lot of people to use, right? It's interesting to hold off on Assassin's Creed because your review said it was good, but it was kind of boring because it was.
Yeah, I'm alone in that though, honestly. I realize that I'm the person, the outlier here. Everybody else loves that game. I'm the one person who does not like Assassin's Creed Origins. My problem was with the hero. I don't think Bayek is interesting, and so even after I think I played 12 hours, I just did not care about the story. I didn't, and since I couldn't care about Bayek, I couldn't care much about the world. The map is gorgeous. The graphics are freaking outstanding. The quest system has been overhauled and is a lot better. But it's one of those things where if the hero I'm playing as doesn't matter, I don't feel like I matter, and I could not get invested.
But so Sean, you've been pretty vocal about the Xbox One X, right? You don't really see the need for it.
No.
From what I've been gathering, right? You're definitely on one side. You're like, I don't see a need for this game. $500 to you could have been spent in much better ways.
You could buy video games with it. I don't know. If you haven't gotten an Xbox One and you're just hell bent on getting an Xbox One, why would you not just get the Xbox One S, which is, slightly, not as powerful and all that stuff, but that's $200 with a game, and then you can spend that $300 to buy games because the Xbox One X does not have any unique games to it. That's what I don't get. Like, I understand why they did that because they don't want to alienate the audience, but it just seems silly to me to spend $500 on a new system that more than likely you're just upgrading. You're not a first-time buyer. If you are a first-time buyer, I don't know. There's still better options, in my opinion. But it just seems so weird. Like I don't understand why anyone would want to do that just for a little boost in graphics.
I think so. I'm really interested to see how this experiment will play out for them. I'm incredibly interested because Microsoft is really shifting their focus towards what they call the premium audience, the people who want to buy the deluxe stuff. Like, I've heard they're still just selling out like crazy with those $100 crazy pro controllers, something I would never buy. I'm the type of person who gets like the cheapest off-brand controller that I can possibly play the hell out of without it breaking. But there is definitely an audience who wants a $100 controller and a $500 console. So I'm curious if it'll really make them that much money or if it just turns out to be a really expensive experiment.
Sure. I mean, but like you're kind of right, Sean, because the S supports HDR. So you can get that nice color gamut across the screen. It does support 4K streaming, and it has an ultra high def Blu-ray player inside. So the only real thing that the X benefits from is 4K gaming, and it's not even always 4K gaming. So I guess it's just people who have a 4K TV really want that experience, I guess, with their games. But it was just the weirdest thing you just said to me, Max, that people weren't even playing a game because they're waiting for the X. It just seemed like very odd. Yeah. I mean, I get like they can if they want, but it's
I can also relate to that. There's definitely been times where I wouldn't play Shenmue until I could get on the Dream. I wouldn't play Shenmue 2 until I could get on the Dreamcast. I had the Xbox One, the original Xbox version, but I wanted to play it on what I considered the perfect hardware for it. So while I'm not doing it with the Xbox One X, I don't fault them for treating it with such reverence. I guess if I'm spending $500 on a console, I'm gonna wait and treat it very ceremoniously.
I don't even have a 4K TV, and I'm getting this thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't have.
I don't have one, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get. We'll see. I mean, I'll buy them. I'll buy a 4K TV when they're as cheap as like a normal TV is now.
Well, they're gonna be pretty cheap this Black Friday. There's one that I keep looking at Walmart that's like $400 right now. Online, it's like $330, just so I can just have just so I can be like, look, I have a 4K TV over here. And I think it's going to be $300 on Black Friday.
Yeah.
It has HDR also. So
on Sean's earlier point about paying so much for the Xbox One X, it was either Sean or Spawn. One of y'all tweeted out the fact that there's going to be a $175 Xbox One S sale somewhere on Black Friday. And so it's so crazy to think that you're paying like 2.5, almost 3 times the cost for an Xbox One X, which I mean, to some people is legit, but Jesus, that's a hell of a gap.
Yeah, and it's only coming with a 1 terabyte hard drive, which sounds weird to me because there was an update that came out for Quantum Break. Sean, you've played Quantum Break, right?
Yes.
There's an update coming out where it's going to push the total file size to 178 gigabytes.
Jesus Christ.
Which is half of the size of the Xbox One's 500 gig hard drive because it takes up some for the OS and everything. I think you get like 380 or something like that. It's almost half the size of that just with one game. I don't even know how long that would take for a lot of people to download either.
See, and that's my biggest thing is I feel like so many companies have really been capitalizing on this lately, and the sales numbers reflect that it's working. The idea of like the day one experience, you buy a game and you try it at the same time as everybody else in this race to beat it. Like a lot of companies have been capitalizing on that. So it's weird to think about the fact that you buy a game, you put in your Xbox One X, and it could take 2 freaking days to install that patch. Like it's just like, oh my gosh, talk about putting the brakes on your own fun.
And then here's my other thought. What if so the Xbox One X is coming out at the end of 2017. So let's say we start hearing about the PS5 by like mid 2019. I mean, does that kind of take the glamour away from the Xbox One X then when we start hearing about the next more powerful system?
I mean, or what if Sony pulls a Microsoft and at E3 this year at the end of their presentation just teases the PlayStation 5 with a name of just do what the Project Scorpio did of being like, look, bro, I don't have a controller, I don't have anything, but I do have an idea. Like that would immediately kill the X so hard.
Dude, the X was like a 1.5 year build, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was it was like about a 1.5 year total from like original
2 E3s, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to think about that. They went that long. They've been teasing this thing for that. They have been willing to mostly sacrifice the Xbox One for this long because so many people are just waiting for the X. I mean, you just explained to me people who aren't going to put a game in until the X comes out.
Yeah.
So there have been a lot of people who have. I mean, the Xbox One sales have been lacking probably because of that.
Yeah.
I'd say.
let's see what happens. I'm really dying to see the final loadout of this year. This going into this Christmas is going to be something truly crazy because there is just such a wide range of hardware on the market now.
Yeah, and then we just saw Super Lucky's Tale got reviewed. 5 out of 10, I think.
That's good. That's one of those games that I saw, and then I was like, cool, I'm going to forget this, and then I forgot about it. And I look back later, like, cool, exactly what I expected.
It looks like what Conker's was. I tweeted this out. It looks like what Conker's was before they changed it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like. And I actually wanted to play that game, and I kept looking at it, and then I hear that it's just not very good. And here's Super Mario Odyssey that's a good platformer. So I'm like, do I want to leave Mario Odyssey and go play Super Lucky's Tale for a bit? I don't know.
I saw someone on Twitter saying the fact that like Sonic Forces may have done better in sales if it didn't try and come out so close to Mario Odyssey. Like coming out as a game that redefines a platforming genre and then to come out and try and be like, hey, we're also trying to bring our game back and make it a 3D platformer again. I was like, oh, that was not a good time.
They should have pushed that game out in September.
Yes, yeah. An early September window would have done them a world of good.
Yeah. So, Sean, you're up to date on a lot of the Switch stuff coming out in November, right? Because you keep talking about it.
Oh yeah.
So we're getting hit with a lot of games coming up in like a week and a half, right? Or a week.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous.
Like an obscene amount, right? Because we keep hearing about more games coming up. We just got Rocket League is coming out November 14th, and I know there's like this window of time. It's like from the 7th. To like the 17th or something, where I know Sonic Forces, L.A. Noire, Skyrim. Like we talked about this like last week, didn't we? Because we were trying to figure out Doom or Skyrim.
Yes.
And now more and more games keep getting added to it. Do you think anything else is going to be added to it before we even get to that week at this point? Because
I hope not. I honestly hope not. Like Jesus, there's only so much money a person can spend. There's only so much. There's only so many games that one person can get. I guess the dark horse, is of course WWE 2K18, which I still think is going to come out this month, towards the end of the month on the Switch. So that could be another November release as well. It's crazy to think about. Just when was the last Nintendo fans and Nintendo owners haven't had this problem in many years, so it's a good problem for them.
Here's the good thing: they might have saved up a ton of money from that Wii U cycle.
Oh God, yes. I mean, you had to. What the hell were you buying?
Maybe they're good now.
I just have to respect all the developers who managed to really get this done and out there before the holiday season. Because now, like, we already know that Switch is selling like crazy, and these people, like, who knows how well each of these games are going to sell individually, but as a whole, it is going to be a crazy spending season for them.
Yeah. So we also had, did you guys see any of the sales that came out for the PlayStation and the Switch? We got quarterly reports for them. And I guess unlike Microsoft, they actually tell us how many units are out there, how much money they're making. Microsoft disguises their Xbox sales very well currently, and I think that's for good reason. Like you cannot tell how many, they just won't say how many Xboxes are out there. But Nintendo and Sony are more than happy to tell us. Now, Sony told us that they are shooting for, which is astounding, 79 million PS4s is what their goal is now by the end of March, which is insane because that would almost get them to where the PS3 finished in its, 8-9 year lifespan in half the time. So that should tell you how strong the PS4 is right now. I think they said there's 67.5 million PS4s out there right now. And they don't seem to be having any issues moving these PS4s at all. I mean, at this point, are you guys pretty much seeing it be 100 million system seller at this point? Right?
Easily. I think that this may break 110 or 120. It is so much the default gaming device now. Like even my freaking dad, who's 61 years old, randomly called me the other day and said that he bought a PlayStation 4 just because he was so curious about Uncharted, and to him that's what he sees. Like modern games are Uncharted, so it's like it's crazy. I see that thing definitely reaching.
That means he could get the collection and Uncharted 4 for probably a good price now and have tons of time out of that series. That's actually
he bought the slim one, which comes with Uncharted 4, and then he went out and bought the Uncharted collection, and he played through it with my brother.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good bit of time there to be playing that. Wow.
Yeah, and to him, he said that it was just like playing through a movie with his wife and being like, "Man, I just pulled this trigger, and all these people just thought of it."
Commercial? Do you remember that commercial when what's his name was there,
Yes.
Kevin Butler, and he was and the guy's like, my girlfriend thinks this is a movie and it's like Uncharted 2, and Kevin Butler's like, I don't see the problem.
Well, no, remember what he did was he goes, "Oh, I'm sure she'll figure it out when you get to like a load screen or something." He goes, "It's been 7 hours." She goes, "I popped the popcorn. Coming, honey." He like goes over there.
Those were good. Man, I miss him being at Sony. Those are good commercials.
Yeah.
Oh man. But so we also heard about I mean, Sean, you have a PS4, obviously.
I do.
You're part of the audience. Does the PS4's success surprise you at all going forward, since they can't seem to not sell these things?
Not really. That's what did you say? 78 million?
They're looking for 79 million as their projection by the end of March 2018. Their fiscal quarters fall to the same times as Nintendo's. That's why we get the reports back to back.
That seems, I don't know. That seems kind of high, doesn't it?
Well, they're 67.5 million now. That means they're looking to. Oh man, how many more is that? They're looking for another 12 million or so this year.
Yeah, another 12 million in the next couple months. But going through Christmas, every Christmas they move a ton. I mean, obviously the Christmas they came out, they sold 2 million the first month, so they can really ship them.
Yeah, but I mean that's their goal. They're looking for it. So if maybe they just want to get right to the PS3 number in like 4 years, which is obscene. That means they'd almost get to the point. Yeah, that means they'd be averaging 20 million PS4s a year then.
Okay. Well.
Which is pretty good. I mean, the biggest year I think I've ever seen from a home console was the Wii. Its second year, and because they shipped 24 million, I believe, that year.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was because the Wii got the 100 million in 5 years, so it happened quick. Which the PS4 will come close. I don't think they'll get there, but they'll come close. But surprising, and now the PS4 is becoming very cheap. We just talked about Black Friday. The PS4 is gonna be under $200.
Yeah. I think there's
1 terabyte model.
Yeah, I think their fancy edition is slightly more expensive than the cheapest Xbox One. It's like $189, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So they're right there as well. Really, I mean, at this point, honestly, if you don't have a PS4 and Xbox One, I don't really see a reason not to buy one with how cheap they're getting at this point, especially a PS4. Yeah. If you don't have a PS4 yet, I mean, you can't go wrong. $190 for a PS4 with the library it has, it's a good pickup. You could argue the Xbox One because the library is kind of small right now compared to the PS4, but It has a lot of value. A 4K Blu-ray player and a 4K streaming box and everything. You could even make the argument that it's a good entertainment device for the living room if you're not even going to play games on it. But and then Nintendo, we heard. Sean, did you take a look at any of the sales numbers for Nintendo as well?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we know at this point, so far up to they reported their last quarter, 7.63 million, I believe, Switches had been shipped. That goes from March to now, and then but they changed their prediction from 10 million Switches in this fiscal year to 14 million. That does not include, keep this in mind, does not include the Switches from March because that falls outside of this fiscal year. That means that their goal by the end of this March coming up to be that'd be the last day of March 2018 to be 14 million plus 2.74, so 16.74 million Switches is what they're looking to have by the end of March 2018, which would eclipse the Wii U sales by 3 million.
God dang.
It'll happen.
Yeah. Well, for some reason what gets me is the Switch just has such a crazy attach rate and it's blowing up so fast. What's really getting me is I'm just curious if Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild are going to turn into the best selling games of their respective series. Just because it's just their attach rate is insane.
So this is where things get really interesting. We also got sales numbers for Mario Odyssey. In Mario Odyssey's first 3 days, it sold 2 million copies.
God dang.
First 3 days. Yes, we won't even know. And the only reason they said that is because we won't know anything about this until January. Because I think that's when their next report is due, sometime in January. So they were like, you know what? Let's just tell them. We got all the investors here. The errand boy runs in with the piece of paper and is like, yeah, look, and they're like, all right, here we go, 2 million. And then I think the investors kind of slumped in their chair and was like, my God. My God.
It's nuts to think 1 in 3 people on a planet with a Switch the first weekend bought Mario Odyssey. Like, people dream of those kind of numbers. Like, that's just nuts.
And it turns out in Japan, they 90% sell-through rate. So they shipped just the right amount to Japan the first week, which I think they sold like 468,000 or something like that in Japan alone, which means the United States, I have a feeling they sold at least 1 million copies in the United States.
Yeah, I think that was said somewhere. I'm pretty sure I read that the US was over 1 mil.
And then they also talked about the Super Nintendo Classic. They actually had shipped 2 million Super Nintendo Classics, which is good. It's much more than the NES. I think that's why a lot of us, it was so easy to find them. By the way, on Craigslist near me now, if I look up Super Nintendo Classic, people are selling them for $100 because no one's buying them. Everyone's getting them. So
that's probably going to be my Christmas gift to myself. No joke.
Good. You should. It's a good system to have. It really is. I really like mine. And I even have this wireless controller that I still need to review for it. But
is it that 8-bit Tendo one or whatever?
No, it's a different one. It's from Nyko.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's what is this? The Super Mini Boss,
dude.
It feels very cheap.
Read online on how to set it up because the instructions that are included with it miss a key step.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have one, Sean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad, but yeah, I couldn't. I was like, "What the hell am I doing wrong?" And I looked online, and like all the reviews and stuff were people like, they messed up. They messed up on the steps.
Did Nyko send you one?
Yeah, and I don't even know. I've never talked to anyone from Nyko. It just sort of showed up in my PO box, and I was like, "Okay, thanks."
I might order one then because I hate cords, and I love RPGs. I'm buying the SNES Classic just for the RPGs. So having a wireless, that's so man. Ooh, yeah, count me in. That's my Christmas gift to me.
Yeah, it won't bother you then because I don't think it feels as good as an actual Super Nintendo controller. But if you're just doing RPGs where it's more slow paced, it won't matter.
Yeah.
I think it's only like $20 too, or something like that.
Hell yeah!
So it's good. I think it's like I feel like it's Bluetooth. If I had to take a guess.
Yeah, it's $20.
Yeah, so good. It's good if you don't already have if you don't already have one, it's completely worth it, man. You'll see them restocked like crazy. Like if you're in stores in December at any time and you see one, just pick it up. The Walmart up by me, I'm giving away like 3 of these things, like I said, and they keep getting restocked. I see them all the time. So
yeah.
I buy them whenever I go in there, just to make sure. I think I have. Well, no, I have 2 right now. I need 1 more. Yeah. Oh no, you guys just got to almost 250 likes. I told Sean before we started. I said, "There's no way we can get to 500 likes." So I don't know why everyone's trying so hard to get there.
Don't make this man a liar.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I couldn't believe it. Somebody was going in the chat saying we're on trending. I could not believe it. So I have some interesting stuff to talk to you guys about. 2 really big topics that really I saw, and I was like, these are really good talking points. The first one is very interesting. Now, Max, you really like the Last of Us 2 trailer, right?
Yes, extremely so. I feel like it hit me because it was just so shocking.
Oh, wait, hold on. Here's a question in Super Chat. I want to grab it before it disappears because the chat's moving quick. Here we go. In regards to the Switch, should third-party developers have all online modes and least desirable modes to be downloaded so they can be used after server? In regards to Switch, third-party developers have all online modes and least desirable. Okay. I think they're saying, should third-party developers have all online modes and least desirable modes to download so they can be used after server? I think they're saying that, so if the server goes down, like, because we know, all right, so we look at L.A. Noire, for example. This is another thing we're going to talk about later, but we can talk about it now. We saw L.A. Noire and we saw WWE 2K18, I believe. They're both going to need large downloads, even if you buy it physically. Like you need to download something. I think L.A. Noire was actually a pretty big size, wasn't it? It was like 14 gigabytes or something.
It's kind of weird because
and then at WWE needs 24 gigabytes, right?
Yeah.
Just to play the game, even if you already bought it physically, pop it in, it prompts you for download, and you have to download it apparently for it to work. So what happens when the servers disappear?
Hopefully.
That's the concern.
Well, that's the concern with all that type of stuff. I mean, what if happens if Steam just goes, we're done, and just vanishes?
Right, but that Steam, I'm talking about if you buy a cartridge. Like, you assume you buy a cartridge, the single-player experience is there, right? That's the whole assumption.
Well, I mean, that's why there's two things. There's two things to really consider. A game like LA Noire, I'm gonna keep separate for now. Let's just talk about the 2K games that we've got. WWE 2K18 and NBA 2K18. Now, what do those both have in common? They're both essentially yearly sports titles. I know I have never gone back and wanted to play WWE, or maybe I don't know, because WWE 2K18 isn't that good.
I think Here Comes the Pain is a good one, but
but I mean, for every Here Comes the Pain, there's like 7 mediocre games, and from what I've seen, it's pretty much mediocre from WWE 2K18. But like a basketball game, the next season I'm playing the next game, so on and so forth. So I don't really think it's that big of a deal with games that get yearly things, like sports titles and whatnot. LA Noire is interesting though, because the complete edition on the Xbox 360, if I recall, was like 27 gigs complete. And so it's like, well, why? I don't like, I understand like LA Noire itself, I think the original game was like 13 gigs, and then the DLC added a lot of stuff to it, and of course the Switch version has the DLC. You would think there would be some better optimization.
People in the chat are saying they're wondering if LA Noire on the cartridge will be the full single player game, and then the download that's required is the DLC, is what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Which once again, if that is the case, if God forbid Rockstar came out and said that, if that's the case, then that's fine. Like a game like Doom, guess what? In 2 years, nobody's gonna be playing the multiplayer in that, except for 15, 20 people probably. Like the fact that Doom is on the cartridge, the single player, and then the multiplayer is via the download, that's brilliant. That's what all these companies need to do. There's no excuse for it not to be done, because you can do it. It's obvious. If
I love that example about Doom, by the way.
If Doom, literally Doom, which is a graphically intense game, I don't care that it's scaled down for the Switch or whatever, it's still a graphically intense game. If they're smart enough to say, we should do it this way, then yeah, like every company should do that. It just makes sense.
One of the reasons I like the multiplayer being a separate download is because to play the multiplayer in the first place, you have to have the internet.
Exactly.
So that makes a ton of sense. Exactly. Yeah. Whereas maybe you buy WWE and you don't have a reliable connection, because I can tell you now, from my experience and Evan's experience selling to people in stores of retail locations, one of the things we always were asked is, does this need online? Because I run my online services, like when I'm watching Netflix, whatever, I run it off of a T-Mobile hotspot or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not,
or they can't update till they go to the library and they know the librarians.
Yes, I'm not kidding. It sounds crazy. It is very common. You'd be surprised.
I have some friends who are basically religious nutcases who, no joke, live in a compound on the outskirts of civilization in Dallas. And they've straight up said that their Xbox has become unusable because every time they turn it on, it wants to install some sort of patch, to the point which is just defunct because their internet is so bad out there. So they're just like, all right, so now we play Switch, because if a Switch game needs a patch, we can just kind of leave it on. Whereas Xbox stuff, 100 gigs, we'll never get there.
I will say this: the one person who I've seen on Twitter talk about Doom, and they talked about Skyrim on the Switch.
I know exactly.
Biggest skeptic that everyone likes to yell at on Twitter and in the chat, and everything. Shane at Rerez said they actually played really well. Skyrim played great. Doom played great on the Switch. He was honestly surprised with how well everything played, and he seemed to like both. So
I should be getting Skyrim soon, I think. We'll see. But when I get it, I'll let y'all know. Because obviously my thing is I want to record a bunch of docked footage. I want to compare it, because I'm a huge Skyrim fanboy and I own every version of it. So I actually kind of wanted to be all right, let's see how
I sent Fez an email. I don't know if it ever gets through.
Here's a pro tip. If you get that copy of Skyrim, take 10 minutes, 15 minutes of docked footage, record it, and then just talk over it. I did that with NBA 2K because I was one of the first people to get it, since I was insane and downloaded it from the Japanese eShop. And that video got so many views for me because there was no docked footage of it.
Yeah, that's true. Even now they're only releasing handheld footage. So I'll take that idea to the bank.
So here's something interesting though. How the hell is Skyrim only 14 gigs?
It's been when it first came out, it was 6 gigabytes.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I think that this is going to be I think it's going to be the lowest resolution textures and stuff, which is nothing bad, but I think that's the only way they'd be able to keep the load times not ridiculous.
I mean, the textures weren't ridiculous in the game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 720p across the board. Probably they might get 1080p in docked. I don't know. It might be one of the situations where they keep it 720p across the board. Like apparently Doom is 720p in handheld and 720p in dock mode.
Yeah.
So they might do that, but apparently it runs well and it loads faster than the other two systems, which is odd.
Yeah, and so that's why, either way, man, I'm just so curious to go around. And so I was reading some article, and they said, so if you wave the Link amiibos over it, you'll get like the Legend of Zelda items, but they also said that they'll be obtainable in-game through a quest or something. And so the idea, now this article could be like some clickbait Nintendo Age thing or something, not calling out Nintendo Age, but some Nintendo site clickbait. But the idea of doing a Legend of Zelda themed quest in Skyrim is just melting my brain because I'm just such a Skyrim fanboy. That'd be so trippy to be like, the worlds are overlapping.
You're a Skyrim fanboy as long as it's not in VR, right?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, man. That was funny. So I did the VR and hated it, and I just wanted to give some honest thoughts. I was like, oh, no one will watch this. Nobody cares about VR. And a bunch of websites ended up writing an article about like first person gets hands on and hates it. Like, oh no! And so the VR community was not happy with me.
There's a VR community.
Oh, yeah, no, wow.
It's like 6 people, and they know all the forums.
No, dude, Sean, you didn't see Max's original video where
well, that was PlayStation VR, though, right?
They all overlap, and that's PSVR specifically still, that's Skyrim VR. But yeah, the people, one time I accidentally called a PlayStation Move controller a Wiimote, and somebody made like a 45-minute video about Dreamcast guy lies again about VR. Oh, come on. Like, it was a mistake.
Dude, people really like you, man. I need to get that kind of love.
I get a lot of engagement, apparently.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so let's go back to The Last of Us, because it's not even as much about The Last of Us trailer. You liked it though, right, Max?
Yes, extremely so. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Sean, did you see The Last of Us 2 trailer?
I did.
You did. Okay. Evan, did you see it?
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You're a PC person. That's fine.
I very little care.
Evan's not as into the gaming stuff, I don't think, as we are.
Maybe not the console side of it. If you're just going to keep it on console, it's fine. You can have that. I'm not really that interested.
Yeah, I mean, I like the PC stuff too. I like the PC stuff. Did you get a hat in time, Evan?
No, I didn't really want that one.
See, I'm trying to talk PC stuff.
That was your one window. You blew it, Evan.
No, a hat in time is pretty good, Evan. I think I have an extra copy I can send you.
Yeah,
I've looked into it. It seems like at core like a basic platforming puzzle-y type interesting game, but I don't know. I've never really 100% been behind those. Even from the early N64 days, I've just not really cared that much about playing them. I don't have that mindset of like, oh, I need to collect all these things. Like,
and I hear that it's fantastic. So many people have said that it's just like a fan sequel to Mario 64, and if you love that, it is a 10 out of 10 for you. And if you're not, then it's definitely an avoid.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to Last of Us 2 trailer. Did you guys see the massive like backlash to that trailer?
Yeah. And I don't want to call the people wrong, but it was a lot stronger than I would have expected. It was one of those things where when I watched the trailer, I was shocked and amazed and really intrigued. I did not foresee all those articles. That blew my mind.
Did the violence catch you off guard?
No, because it made so much sense to me. The reason I think it was really important that they put that much violence in there, because I really felt like it drove home the fact that like, as soon as civilization went down, as soon as the cops went away, we were literally lighting cars on fire and making demonic cults out in the forest. Like, it was so instant. And I feel like it really drove that home of being like, yeah, the Fireflies are bad. Like, the government is bad. Everybody in The Last of Us is just awful. Like, if the clickers didn't kill us, we were killing each other. And I felt like they did that so well.
So here's the people in the chat who don't know what's happening. When The Last of Us 2 trailer happened, it was actually shockingly violent to some, because there was a part in it where they held a person down. I think it was a girl down, and they basically broke their arm with a hammer. Good choice of weapon, by the way. And they basically beat her elbow in with a hammer until it basically broke and the bone was popping out like the whole time, right? And then they jammed the other side of the hammer into like the girl's head or whatever that was attacking them originally. And it seemed to really catch, I think, some off guard. And the reason I think it caught them off guard. I don't think it had anything to do with the actual violence. I think it had to do with the placement of the violence, mostly that it was on a public stream. Like that would not be something that would show up on TV, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would not. They would not put that during the Super Bowl or something, right?
No.
They wouldn't even put it. Honestly, they wouldn't even put that commercial during The Walking Dead. It sounds weird, but they probably wouldn't. And the thing about that is, I think, especially journalists, if you look at gaming journalists who are on IGN, because I know Max Scoville got a lot of hate for it. The point they're trying to make is they want games to be taken seriously, and if somebody who has never seen The Last of Us and is essentially promised what is you know how we see those trailers and they always give us that green screen that says this has been approved for all audiences and everything, and if you want to see the Red Band trailer, you go online and it says this has not been approved for all audiences. They do that so that you know ahead of time, I'm not going to see someone having their elbow bashed in with a hammer. You know, it's safe for my kids to watch this. I think that's what they were trying to say. Listen, we all want games to be mainstream, want them to be taken more seriously, and that was kind of a step back, I think, is the point I think they were trying to make. Whether they're right or wrong, that's debatable.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's what they're trying to do. And I think it's important, like, while I disagree with those articles, I'm very glad that people are writing them. I think it's really great that we are kind of really addressing this stuff hardcore as art forms. And if art is a little bit farther than you think, it's important to say, hey, well, should it have been this way or should it have been this way? And what's the point of this hyperviolence?
Yeah, everyone harps on the violence. Universal One makes a great point here in the chat, because I was talking about this on Twitter too. I think the Detroit trailer, like they say, could have been seen as more disturbing than The Last of Us trailer, because that actually felt like when I was watching it here on stream, it got really quiet, and I was like, this is probably very real for some people in the chat that are watching this right now.
Yeah. So he got attacked real bad too. Yeah, David Cage was very badly attacked by all sides. And as somebody who did go through that specific kind of child abuse, I actually want to buy Detroit Become Human because of that specifically. I actually think it's really cool that they're kind of telling the story of, like, sometimes in child abuse situations, and you're just a viewer of it, it's hard to know when to step in. So I think it's really smart that they're doing it. It's like, this person is being treated as like a house plant. She's just an android who's cleaning stuff up, while this kid is in an increasingly dangerous situation. At what point is it your job to defy your programming and rescue this person? So, man, personally, I think it's important and amazing that they're doing that. I hate that people are attacking David Cage for that.
Yeah, it got very real. I'm just surprised so many people glossed over that, when I think that was a more disturbing element to some people, and they just go right for the violence. Now, I think, like I said, I think the problem here is if it wasn't on the stream, maybe they cut away from that part, or it doesn't happen altogether, and then there's a Red Band trailer you can go watch during a stream somewhere else, or just in general, you look it up on YouTube. I don't think there would have been a problem. I think it was just the surprise of violence when someone could have been watching that with their kids or something, I think is the idea here. Because, like I said, you wouldn't see that on TV. I don't know. It's tough because we're still in this weird place where internet streaming isn't like TV yet, but everyone wants it to be, kind of. It's very weird. What was your take on it, Sean? What are you thinking there, man?
I mean, I was a bit, disturbed with The Last of Us 2 trailer because it didn't show any actual gameplay. It just showed me all these pre-rendered cutscenes, and I was like, hey, I want to see actual game stuff. No, I'm just kidding. The violence doesn't bother me. I love violent movies. The 80s were a bastion. I mean, RoboCop, which everyone is, RoboCop, it's a classic game. Watch when he gets killed. Like, that's freaking disgusting.
The movie, yeah, but then they brought it back and it's PG-13 when they bring it back.
Right, exactly. So I grew up, in an era of violence and stuff like that. You can't really shock me too much. I think, I'm not the biggest Last of Us fan. So Detroit seems a little more interesting to me, even though I'm not really a huge fan of that type of game either, but I think I will enjoy that game.
What do you think about the opinion that it shouldn't be in that kind of setting? Like, it should be in a more mature setting where they say, look, this is going to be an R-rated trailer, put the kids away or whatever.
I mean, yeah, they could have very easily and probably to some degree should have given some sort of, forewarning. Like, it's not that hard to say, the following content is extremely violent. Viewer discretion is advised. Like, it takes all of 2 seconds. And if anything, I think that helps, build up the intensity for what you're about to see, because now you're like, oh shit, there's violent stuff.
So I'll give you a great example of how they used to handle this before they took everything off TV. G4, I love the network. I've made that very apparent here. I used to watch it all the time. They had something called Cinematech. And anyone who's watched G4 probably knows what I'm talking about. All Cinematech would be was cutscenes of games. I'm talking we're talking PS2 games. I remember I watched the first level in Maximo get played like 20 times.
Oh yeah, same here.
Yeah, but then they would show stuff from like Onimusha. They'd show all kinds of stuff on there. I think Shenmue was on there at one point because Dreamcast was still kind of relevant at the time. Mm-hmm. But then they had Cinematech After Dark, and it would only play after 11 p.m. Eastern time, like my time. And that would be where the violent games were. I guess the M-rated, scantily clad girls games would be on there. And that's how they treat it. They would say, look, there is this obvious time where we're going to shift over to Cinematech After Dark. And it still wasn't like, TVMA or anything, but it was like TV 14, and they treated it more like it was a mature rated game that was being shown. So it just seems odd because at one point we're watching Guacamelee 2, and then half an hour later we're watching someone get their elbow bashed in.
Well, it's sort of y'all talking about like just a small warning. I never even thought of that, but that is such a smart move. Like it just seems so obvious. Like it sort of reminds me. I grew up deeply and madly in love with Resident Evil, and every Resident Evil game in the 90s started with the thing that said this game contains scenes of extreme violence and gore, and it was a 1-second screen of like a bloody cop car with those words on it, just to let you know, like, okay, you haven't seen a game like this. Like, if you were ready for that, now you're ready for that. I feel like if I just turned on like a Resident Evil game right at the gate and somebody was getting their head blown off and stuff, I kind of would have been like, whoa, okay, well, I guess we're stomping on the gas pedal. I wasn't quite expecting that.
It was so odd. What do you think, Evan? Where are you on this whole thing?
Censorship in this kind of avenue has always been talked about, like what they need to do to preface things for people. Even the Call of Duty scene where you get to play a guy shooting up an airport, you could even skip that altogether.
No Russian.
Yeah. They asked you if you wanted to skip it if it was like a serious thing, but I don't know. If it was done in a streaming situation, it is separate, and we do want that to eventually, I guess, be like the next television. But for it to be the next television, it's going to have a system sitting on top of it going, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. That's really when it makes that shift. So they probably should have said something at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just think that's the whole point. I think the trailer was fine. I think it was a good trailer, but I guess that's just what got people confused and mad, and it seemed just the setting. I think everyone was fine with the trailer itself, just not where it was like shown, I guess. Did you guys see anything else about Paris Week? Did any of you guys watch the stream at all?
I watched the stream live. I was supposed to be editing, and instead I sat there like this, eating my popcorn. But I guess the one opinion I have is probably a little bit controversial is, man, I'm really underwhelmed by that Shadow of the Colossus remake. Like it's a complete reskin, and I love that game so much, but it's so weird to just see them doing like a beat for beat remake.
It looks like to be the same game. Yeah, I mean that's cool if you do, because I think there are kids that have missed that game, and it's a great game. If you missed it, go buy it. It's obvious day one buy. But if you're like me, Evan, you, Sean, probably who have played it,
I played that game into the dirt. All the time trials. I even I found all the weird buggy ways to cheat. Like, did you know on the Flying Sand Dragon you could let go when you're holding on to them, and you'd actually fly back to the second point, and you could go down. Yeah, like just getting all those things done.
So that was I guess my favorite game out of the whole thing was Spider-Man. I can't wait till that game comes out.
Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World. Every time I see that trailer, it's one of those games that I'm not a Monster Hunter fan, but every time they get that out, for some reason it gets its hooks in me. I'm really on the by the way, I don't know if they announced this publicly, but I'm on the Capcom press email list. They told me that everybody will be able to install a special demo of it on December 9th. So if you're on the fence about Monster Hunter World, install it. PlayStation Plus, December 9th.
I will be playing that. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, Evan, you didn't see that? You haven't been following the Spider-Man game at all, have you?
Only a little bit. I mean, it looked kind of basics.
Did you see the new trailer that came out?
Not yet. Been too busy planning for the convention I've been going to today. So
well, they showed more of the story. They showed Peter Parker, but then they also showed Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm. So it's just story elements, because I mean, gameplay elements for me. That's
they showed a lot of the story. Games. They showed a lot of story in the past.
Okay,
they're trying to tell an original story. It looks like. So I don't know if you know more of the backstory about that with Miles Morales and Peter Parker.
If it's going to be an original story, I know they meet at one point because one of their universes is dying or whatever, so they go to another universe. But I mean, that's when it gets so convoluted that's what people hate about comics is how they all start to connect like that. That's why DC Comics and everyone are talking about doing evergreen stories, the single one-off storylines like White Knight, which is happening now.
I was going to ask you if you think it's going to become too complicated. Once I saw Miles Morales there, I was like, wait a minute.
It depends.
Really complicated.
Most likely all they're going to do is have some kind of overview file you can check to be like, who the hell's Miles Morales if you don't know, and then you just go into the menu and it gives you like that 2-paragraph synopsis.
Yeah. They could, because the villain is Mr. Negative, and Mr. Negative, since he is a weird negative space villain who messes with reality, they could just pull like the Sonic Generations thing of being like, oh no, I made a hole in time. Now there's 2 Spider-Mans. But I don't know. I'm interested. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, I like that they're going to try to tell an original story. I think that could be really interesting, most because you don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so this is a fun topic, and I'm sure Sean will have fun with this one. EA talked about a lot of stuff recently, and one of the things, and I saw you sound off on this right away, Sean. They are not sold on the Switch at all. Even a little bit. Even a little bit. They said, wow. They said they're going to wait until the first year of the Switch's sales to really react and evaluate what they're going to do here. And I saw you make a good point, Max, on Twitter, which we can get to. But they are going to kind of play the wait and see game right now. They're going to kind of hang back and say, okay, let's see what the Switch is going to do in its first year. Maybe waiting for it to outsell the Wii U in one shot. I don't know. It just seems odd that they're not like, yeah, let's do this. Let's get on the Switch bandwagon and go. Sean, what are you thinking there, man?
I just think it's. I mean, it's EA and Capcom right now. They're the 2 companies that are like, oh, we're not sure.
Capcom's real weird about that, man. I don't get Capcom at all.
And everyone, and like Capcom in Japan, they're a little different with the Monster Hunter Double Cross.
Well, did you see Capcom's excuse for why they have not been on the Switch at all? This is funny. they said there's no time to make games in the first year, and then here's Bethesda with making games for the system, no problem.
It's just Chad is killing me with that super chat. EA, we've tried nothing and we're out of ideas.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just I mean, doing it and then saying what you're doing are 2 different things. I think if EA just laid low and then came out with stuff in 2018, that's okay. By going out there and saying, oh, we're not really sold on it yet, we're going to wait a little bit. Like, you're just pissing off potential customers. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to rush out and get that new EA game. I don't
think FIFA sold as well as they would have liked it to, but it's weird to bank everything on FIFA when you have other things like I think Madden would have sold better than FIFA.
It would have. In the United States and worldwide, Madden would have sold better.
Yeah, and it's weird they leave that one out. It's a football game. They would have made a lot of money in the United States for that. And even NHL probably would have sold better too. Yeah, that's tough.
Like they said, soccer is the world's biggest sport or whatnot.
But those people are already sold on the PS4 version.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think a portable. That's the appeal of NBA 2K18, which we don't know how well that's selling, but
we'll know. I think we'll know next month.
Yeah. That's the appeal of NBA 2K18 is the ability to take a console sports game with you on the go. And I think Madden would have done great on the Switch, to be honest with you, but I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, EA themselves, it pretty much goes into Max's reply to me on that, is how EA likes, microtransactions and, loot boxes and crap like that. And Nintendo's online infrastructure isn't really set up for that. And I mean, he's right. Like, that's what a lot of EA games are sort of based on nowadays. So I think, if EA just did like their sports games, Madden and FIFA, I think Switch owners would be fine with that. I don't think there would be a big disconnect, a big, lash out about not getting games because I don't know. I just don't foresee a good working relationship with the 2 companies.
Yeah, well, I want to say problem, and I'm using problem because it doesn't service them, is the Nintendo Switch, in my opinion, is very much a console that's based on one-time buy games. Like, you buy that one game, you play it, you give your full price money to that company, and that's pretty much it. There's not really any DLC as far as I've seen. There's no real DLC or anything yet on the Switch. And Electronic Arts, like one of their major executives who quit recently, said that they made hundreds of millions of dollars on just like a couple thousand players of Mass Effect Andromeda. And they're like, yeah, that's all we care about. We just try and build systems that get a $60 buyer to become a $1,000 buyer. And you
active monthly users, yeah.
Yeah, you can't really do that with the Switch yet. It's a lot harder to get somebody like that invested in an online game on that console right now.
Dr. Garza dropping $1 in the super chat. Thanks. No message, but thanks. Max, I think your reply was pretty good right away when you pretty much pointed out, well, there's no real easy way right now because Nintendo hasn't told us about the online service. And I honestly think that's something EA is waiting for. They're waiting to see what's this online service that Nintendo is going to be charging people $20 a year. Is it going to be this all-encompassing thing where you have an account that covers everything?
Yeah, because EA thrives on that, because multiplayer experiences are the way you make a game seem more advanced and random than it really actually is, because you're playing against people rather than AI at that point. You don't know what they're going to do.
So the EA, once they've made it very clear with their close of Visceral and everything. I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, there are other things, yeah, but I do think they want games as a service complete from now on. That's all they want.
Well, I mean, stuff like EA Access, I've heard rumors that EA Access makes them a lot more money than they're talking about publicly, and that only exists right now on PC and Xbox One. And even with that smaller install base, it's still making them millions and millions of dollars. So I think they're probably in private talks right now being like, okay, you're going to have Nintendo Online. Will you be open to the idea of letting people play games early and having a more online-focused service for just our games? So
keep in mind, there's also a lot of times where the Switch just isn't connected to the internet, and I think EA wants every system connected to the internet as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely. EA are the people who want to put ads on your ads.
Yeah, I think that's the case there. But Max, you did say you were interested in Monster Hunter, right?
Yes, very much so. Which is strange because I'm not really a Monster Hunter like guy, but that one it's got me.
Well, let me ask you. Actually, Sean, are you interested in Monster Hunter World at all?
So.
Yeah. Actually, Evan, you can actually participate in this because it's a PC game. What are you thinking about that, man? Monster Hunter World.
It looks interesting with the direction they're going, the way they're advancing it. I never really liked a lot of the Japanese-centric RPGs with how kind of janky they feel, like when you're just kind of swinging at things, you're watching someone have that weird, like, I'm getting hit animation. Yeah. It just doesn't feel right. But this one looks like it's taking it to the more interesting and impressive method.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
It almost seems more serious and more physics-based. Like, I've always liked Monster Hunter, and I've played a couple of them, but it's always the thing that's been a turnoff for me is building these giant weapons sometimes that are like 10 times bigger than my character. Like, something about it gets so surreal that I'm kind of like, okay, cool. So I'm just Superman with a sword. That's kind of boring to me. So
that I can get around as long as the nuance is there that the world feels like it's actually a thing.
Yeah, well, this one looks so freaking alive. Like, holy crap!
Let me on trees and stuff, man. Well, check this out. This was pretty funny. There was an interview with GameSpot, and they were talking to the development team and the producer, and they asked them what their thoughts were on loot boxes. You know, what are your thoughts on having loot boxes or supply drops or loot crates in Monster Hunter World? And their response was pretty straightforward. It was, well, we want people to play our game. We don't want them to pay to skip it. So no, there will be no loot boxes in this game.
It's weird too, because if you consider the loot box type games, this is one of those games where it would work.
It'd be so easy to put it in there.
Yeah. But they could even do it to a degree where it's sort of like the free to play economy moving into pay to play games, where you have the pay to win and then the pay to just have some fun. So they could have just made it where it's like you can color your armor differently if you pay, and you don't have to care about that. Or they could be like, you get this god tier weapon if you pay, and then.
But with how grindy that game is, easily, right? They could have been like, give us some money. You don't have to go out and grind. Here, we'll just give you a box. That
buy the loot box from this zone, and we'll give you a handful of mats.
The Monster Hunter community is so die hard. They literally could have made cosmetic only stuff that was really small. Like, you pay us $2 and you have a special in-game pet that's a tiny special monster that follows you around, looks cute, does nothing, and they'd still make $1 million. So I respect Capcom stepping back and be like, no, keep your money.
Yeah, even with its online function, it could just be buying emotes and stuff along those lines.
Did you see that? Did you hear that, Sean? The answer that the Monster Hunter World developers and producers gave when asked about loot boxes?
I did. That was good.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. I thought that was great because that would be so easy to add that in. That's the one thing I'll give to Capcom them credit for, because I beat down on them pretty bad recently because I think they're mismanaged horribly. Yeah. They will not, at least so far, will not jump headfirst into the loot box craze. So I have to give them some credit there. Despite them porting every single thing 3 times, at least they're not putting loot crates in them.
I mean, that does seem great from our perspective of being like, fight the good fight, Capcom. But at the same time, they are kind of behind the times with all other major companies, so it's kind of in the same vein.
I feel like what Capcom needs to do, like if I could pick one thing, it's that I feel like they need to expand their DLC teams, because I noticed stuff like, I'm a huge Resident Evil 7. I thought that was awesome. I gave it an 8.5 when I reviewed it, and I've been excited for the DLC. And we're coming up on December, and the original piece that was supposed to be out at the beginning of spring is finally coming out. The not a hero pack. It's like, how the hell are you 9 months behind schedule? What the heck?
It's gonna be free though, right? Like, it's gonna be free to.
It's gonna be free, but it's always weird when there's I don't know. I feel like they I think it is just a mismanagement thing. Like somebody up at the top doesn't know how to delegate.
Yeah, it's Capcom, man. Come on.
Yeah.
They're good at not being good.
They sit back and go, well, here's this one game. See you in a couple of years. It's like, oh, but actually this needs a patch. Bye. See you in a few years.
Oh man, that's great. This was from Dr. Garza 1000. Motion control golf game with a question mark. Mario Golf or PGA One? I assume that's for the Switch because it worked with the Joy-Cons. They could do Mario Golf, although I like Mario Golf when it's just button presses. If anything, believe it or not, when PGA Tour or whatever it was back in the day, I had Tiger Woods for a while, and then I think it changed at one point, and then went back to Tiger Woods. Those actually sold really well back in the day in the stores that we would work at. People would buy Wii's just for that. So yeah, you could probably do something. What are they doing now? Rory McIlroy, because they can't put Tiger Woods on the front anymore because his whole thing.
Tiger, I beat my wife Woods.
Yeah, they can't do that anymore. So I think it was like Rory McIlroy or something. Sure, why not? They could make a game like that. There are people who like that stuff. You don't have to always make one type of game. Yeah, why not?
I'm not the biggest fan of motion controls, but I'd be all right with something motion control-ish for Switch and Mario Golf. I feel like they'd find a creative way to do it where I could do it with one like turn a Joy-Con sideways and I like punch the ball. I'm sure they'd do it nicely.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, why not? Why not? Hey, who is that? Jordan Robotham, he's trying to rally the people for 500 likes. I don't think it's possible.
It's never gonna happen.
We're at 395 right now. I just don't think it's possible, man.
We gave up 100 more likes. That's not going to happen.
No, not at all. Come on, guy. Come on. Well, we have roughly 20-ish minutes left. Evan, do we have any questions or anything?
We have a couple. I mean, we've already been talking about loot boxes.
That is like the hottest topic now in gaming.
Well, because it's expanding so fast. Like, man, I'm sure y'all saw Activision had an official conference call where they said that they made $1 billion in the last year.
$1 billion. Isn't that insane? $1 billion. God.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just basic. We got a chunk of questions about that. If in the future,
one from Sean Ryan. Did you guys like ARMS? Okay, so the one thing that when I saw ARMS in their quarterly reports for Nintendo, not many people bought it after the initial sales. I think only like another 100,000 people bought it. I was okay with ARMS, but I didn't. Yeah. It didn't grab me. Like I'm not going back to play it anymore because Mario Odyssey came out, and I know I said it already, but I just did the quality with Mario Odyssey. I don't know. I'm not like jumping out of my seat to go play ARMS again. Maybe other people are. I'm not.
I played it. 25 hours when I originally reviewed it. And then the only time I ever played it is I was at a party once and somebody had ARMS set up of all games. We were drunkenly playing ARMS against each other.
Okay, so, that actually sounds fun.
yeah, and they were having a blast. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I never touched it again.
What about you, Sean?
I didn't like ARMS. I never bought it.
There you go.
It's weird because it reviewed very well, which surprised me. I gave it a 7.5 when I reviewed it. I was like, all right, it's fine.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's a Xenoblade 2 direct
November
7th. I mean, that's gonna be cool. I just don't know what else they need to tell us. I feel like we've seen a lot of the game already, right?
Yeah. Well, what's weird is there's a specific demo that they've been letting people play, but they haven't shown. So I think maybe they're just going to finally show that to people. And apparently it's really, really in depth about the combo system of how, like, you say, like, you beat people up and you're using magic and stuff. And then, like, you'll get like level 1 special, level 2 special, level 3, which they call it something different, but it sounds like special. And you slowly basically line up all your special attacks and stuff. So since we haven't really seen that, I think they're going to finally be like, hello, this is a super nuclear attack. Like, yeah.
I mean, when they did that ARMS direct, I wasn't expecting much going in, and then they completely changed my vision or my perception of the game. So
yeah,
who knows? You never know what they could do. Sean, is that your type of game, Xenoblade? Or are you more on?
No, yeah, I'm definitely getting that game. I don't know when the hell I'm gonna have time to play it, but yeah, I'm definitely getting it.
Yeah, man, dude, the original Xenoblade is so crazy, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Like both of them, honestly.
Yeah. Well, they're so dramatically different. I feel like I love them for completely different reasons. Like the second one, my only problem with it is the fact that you had to play like 70 hours to get a mech, and then it totally changes the game, which was great, but it was also weird to be like, man, it's just, so crazy.
So what else do we have, Evan?
So if in the future all games go loot boxes, do we just quit gaming altogether? I mean, I'm definitely not on that vein. I just would avoid the games where the loot boxes are sort of pay to win.
Here's the problem, though. It's not going to. EA is going to sell crazy amounts of Star Wars, even though most of us consider it pay to win at this point.
Yeah,
Battlefront 2. It's going to sell because Star Wars is printed on it.
Yeah, but I would avoid that game. I mean, it can sell all at once, but if I don't mind playing at this point Destiny 2 because the mods that come with the pay boxes, I'm swimming in mods. I haven't really even done that, so I don't see the point. But I guess that's completely fine. And it is a future where we keep talking about how games really haven't gone up in prices, yet production and everything's gone way up for them in hopes that maybe the people buying it will match that, and it never really happens. But if you want these games to keep going, if you want to see more expansion and DLC to it, the only model that really worked for it in the past was the World of Warcraft model, where you had to pay X amount of dollars a month, which is basically just a loot box. So, like...
Yeah. Well, that's what
you get
I feel like there's that thunderclap that's happened and nobody's heard the thunder yet. But the thunderclap is the fact that studios are closing at a record rate. We're at the point now where like really big, really successful looking studios can no longer afford to keep their doors open because it's just so expensive to make that next game. Where it's like, okay, we made $500 million on this, but the next project is going to cost $600 million, or we can just close down and take this profit and try and reinvest it somewhere else. And that keeps happening. So I think games are going to have to get more expensive, or loot crates are just going to become a hell of a lot more invasive.
Jib Jab asked, thoughts on Mother 3 release on the Switch? I think it would make too much money, so no. I would like to see it happen. I think it would sell a crazy amount of copies, especially, dude, if that game was physical, they could charge a full 60 if it was like the sweet looking, package and everything with like an art book and all this stuff. I would buy it. But if it was digital for $20, yeah, I'd buy that right away. I don't know what is holding them up. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. And then there's another one. That one's for you, Sean. 500 likes and Sean takes his shirt off. Not really.
Squid Vicious, man. That guy, I see you on Twitter a lot. You're awesome, Squid.
That's funny. Are you guys? Oh, that was a good question there. Is anyone going Black Friday shopping?
Hell no.
Yeah. I promised my friends I'd go. So I'm probably going to hit a couple places. I'm not sure I'll get a TV, but
getting that 4K TV.
I'll probably end up standing outside somewhere and buying something. I don't know. I kind of like to stand outside like a Target and get a couple games and a couple movies.
I'll go to Walmart and they put their stickers on each game. And I remember one year I actually bought games for the store, and because you can go there and then a week later the games go back up in price, and that was an easy way to get quick stock. But I was buying games for like $10-15 at Walmart, and they were brand new, like good games. Remember when The Witcher 3 first came out? Yeah. It was like $25 at Walmart. So I might do that. I might just go get some games to the backlog or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
and that's nothing on the Switch is on sale though.
Yeah, not shocking. I don't know. I'll probably buy. I'm sure they'll have a copy of Mass Effect Andromeda for $3.50. So I may buy 4 or 5 of those as a joke.
Oh man, Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah, I'll go look. I'm just hoping for some decent deals. I keep saying I'm gonna get a 4K TV. I don't know. I mean, I think I'd rather have like a 1440p monitor or 4K monitor or something instead. Another one.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Evan, what else do we have in the oh no. Yeah, 504 likes, people. Come on.
Jesus.
Making me look like a liar here.
Such a liar, John.
504 likes.
Are we taking our shirts off? Is that what's happening now?
I mean, if I have to, I
Oh man, that's rough. 500 likes. Yeah, look at that. I think that's what we got last.
I thought we almost hit 600.
Was it? I can't remember. I just remember people were in the chat like, "Hey, I saw this on trending. What's going on in here?" And then we're just all sitting here talking on stream. Now people are like organizing. Now they're like organizing to get like 600.
We always get it at the end though. Like we're in question time, so we're gonna hit trending and be like, "Goodbye, everybody."
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Let me see. I think 600 is possible. These people are like, yeah, they're like organizing right now. That's funny. That's good stuff. Last time it was last time it was just below 600 likes.
Yep, we were almost there.
Leave the shirts on.
What else do we have, Evan?
Oh, do you think loot boxes will replace DLC? I don't think the DLC will exist, but loot boxes will be the padding between it.
Yeah, well, I've seen some people say that we'll get to a point where all DLC will be free and loot boxes will be in there. Like DLC will be smaller, like what Halo 5 did, where all the map packs came out pretty spaced out and they weren't giant, but they got completely paid for by loot boxes.
Yeah, the business model might actually change to more of like a Kickstarter, but from within the company, means where there's like a hidden progress bar, and once the loot boxes get to a point, they're like, yeah, let's add a map pack.
Yeah. I like that, but I also, man, I don't know. I fear the day because obviously Final Fantasy is my deepest love, and I fear the day of when we get like a Final Fantasy with loot boxes, and with how much loot boxes make. I see the idea of like Final Fantasy 16 because they've already talked about the idea of doing Final Fantasy 16 more as a games as service. There's already a quote where the guy was like, yeah, we like to make a Final Fantasy 15 and it's fun, but we've actually feel like we've done more by being able to patch it and update it over time. So we think future Final Fantasies may be much more like our Final Fantasy Mobile Exeus, like their cell phone game, like where they come out with a Final Fantasy 16 and it just keeps getting patches and changing and you keep paying to play it, which I would hate.
Oh, I just found a great stream to go take over after we finish.
All right, hold on to that thought for now, then.
No, I found one. It's so funny. This is gonna be great. Go ahead. Sorry.
How many Switch games are you guys getting this month? If not all, which ones?
Oh, dude, that's gonna. Oh my gosh, how many Switch games am I buying?
Think about your wallet in this moment.
Gosh.
I'm only gonna get. I mean, Skyrim's the only like must for me, but because I'm just such a big Skyrim guy, nothing else is jumping to mind except obviously. When we get to Xenoblade is going to be a huge chunk of my time.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, because if I buy too many games, how am I going to play it before? Because when Xenoblade comes out, it's going to be like what Mario Odyssey is for me now, where I'm just playing that all the time. But I know I'm getting Skyrim. I know I'm getting LA Noire. I know I'm getting Rocket League. I know I'm getting Sonic Forces. And I know there were some indie games that got announced, too, that I was looking at as well. Cat Quest is coming out.
Yeah, that comes out on the 10th.
Yeah, like you see, this is happening. It's getting out of control, man.
Our lives are horrible. They're flooded with amazing games.
Because I know I was looking at them. I'm like, I'm not even gonna remember all these. They're just gonna pop up on the eShop. I'm just gonna be like, I guess, I guess this is happening. Here we go.
5. I'm at 5 in my head. I've already paid off Doom and Sonic. Skyrim, I'm gonna end up buying because I'll want to play it. Rocket League.
Holy hell!
Batman Telltale series is in there too.
Yeah,
I hate Telltale.
Rhyme. What about Rhyme?
Rhyme is a maybe because I haven't played it yet.
Rhyme's one of those games where as long as you don't look into it, you don't have to grab it day one. It's just a really good story. Eventually get it. So if you're gonna save your wallet, go ahead, but like definitely pick it up at some point.
And then that's probably what I'll end up doing. And
then later on that month, Gear Club's out, Unlimited.
Fuck, I thought that was December.
November 21st.
That's Resident Evil money.
Also MXGP3, if you like motocross.
Yeah, I kind of do. Guilty pleasure.
kind of do.
I kind of do.
It's one of those things, you know.
Then there's, of course, Revelations coming out later on. Siberia 2.
I'm buying Revelations for sure because I never played Revelations 2, and I love the raid mode in that game. So it'll be nice to play with new people.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, that raid mode was legit, man. It was one of those games that I didn't even think about the raid mode for the longest time. My friend came over once, like, we need to play a co-op shooter. I think Resident Evil can do that, and then we played it all night.
I'm going to get that on the Switch. Well, I like the idea of being able to reload with the IR sensor, but man, it looked so bad in that stream they were trying to pull. Remember that with Capcom, where they were showing off at night, and they were having such a hard time on stage. They were like, where basically you hold the Joy-Cons, and then you basically hit the bottom of it like that to reload it.
Yeah, no bueno. If there is a button, I'll press the button.
I was looking online and I just saw Gear Club's release date pop up. I don't know if it got moved or not, but I can double check release just to make sure I'm right. If not,
well, look at GameStop would have it because I think they're
I see everyone saying December 1st, and then I saw on GameFAQs that it was like November something. So I'm gonna go with December 1st. Although that's a bad day to release. I don't know why they want to release that.
I think they're all wrong because GameStop is doing the physical release. It's only available at GameStop, and it says 11/21 on their website.
Yeah, that's what I saw on GameFAQs. So maybe it is November 21st then.
Shit.
Maybe it is.
I low key want it.
But then I see on Nintendo.com that's at December 1st. I wonder if they pushed it up because Xenoblade's coming out that day.
Maybe.
I mean, it's the one racer that's simulation on the Switch.
That's why I want it.
So it looks kind of like Need for Speed mixed with Forza, I guess, because it doesn't look as serious as Forza, but it doesn't look as arcadey as Need for Speed. It definitely looks like a massive upgrade over the cell phone version.
Yes.
And it has 4-player same screen racing, which is something that they've gotten rid of in a lot of racing games recently. Have you noticed that, where they get rid of all like same screen like gameplay? Like you can't race against each other in most games now.
Yeah.
It's very odd that they did that.
Well, I think it's just because racing games have become the thing where you crank out the graphics the most. They're how you display how powerful your graphics engine is, and if you try and do that co-op, it just plummets.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I miss those days because I remember when I used to play Need for Speed Underground 2 a lot. We would do that. We would like race against each other all the time, and it was awesome.
I had a thing where I had
oh my god. Sorry. There's a funny super chat.
I was gonna say, so I used to do the thing where if we made all straight A's on a test, we were allowed to bring a game console for 1 hour on Fridays, and so we used to bring Need for Speed Underground 2 and have drifting competitions. So we're literally in classroom on a projector, just being like, "I'm gonna outdrift you, you son of."
I remember I used to like the drag racing in that one too. Yeah, that was fun.
Like how it always popped up. Perfect shift. Shift.
That was great. This is KMJ Superfly 1. Cuphead physical version is a fail. Thoughts? Did you guys see that about the Cuphead physical version?
No, what?
It made me want to throw up.
Check this out. They're releasing Cuphead.
Oh, yeah.
Inside the box is a code, and that's it. There's no disc. So it's a box on a shelf that has a code in it. And I think they did that just to make it in time for the holiday season.
Yeah, and that doesn't shock me. I mean, obviously, Sonic Mania did that, and a bunch of when you buy Minecraft on the PS Vita, it does the same thing. You get this fancy box, you open it up, and it's just a piece of paper. Like, cool.
So here's the interesting thing. I saw on Twitter the makers studio MDHR, I think. They said that someone basically complained to them, was like, "What is this?" They said, "Don't worry, we have a good physical copy coming eventually." So
what the hell is that?
I think Microsoft, because Microsoft, they want this on the shelf next to the Xbox One X. And everything.
Yeah.
They probably the regular one wasn't ready, and they were like, "Let's push this out." According to Studio MDHR, there's probably gonna be a more expensive version that has a bunch of cool stuff with it. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, which I'm totally on board for. Those guys worked on it so long, they deserve all the money.
Here's a good. Robert Erickson asks, "What is the worst game you own on the Switch?"
Troll and I.
Vaccine.
What is that game that
I just don't.
I got real with Sean for a minute there
because I don't own a lot of Switch games. That's the only one that I consider like meh. Like I almost all my. I think all my games on Switch are digital because they're just review codes. And since I'm always playing like Mario and Zelda, it's hard to be like, and this one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Switch game. I made a video about it, and I can't remember the name because I forgot it on purpose since it's a Skyride. That's the worst game. No, Skyride, dude. Go look at Skyride. It's bad.
It's worse than Vroom?
Dude, it's bad.
Most likely.
Bad. It's bad. Like Skyride looks like could be an asset flip.
Oh yeah.
It's bad. I made a whole video on it. It's not good. It's more expensive than it should be, I think, too. But it's not a good game at all. What did we end at last time, Evan? Like 570 something. It was right below 600.
Looked at that number.
I know, dude. I just glance over at it occasionally. It's like
I know it was insanely close. I just can't remember how close.
565 likes. 600 might be possible. You know what? I believe in our audience.
We get to 600. I'll take off my shirt and I'll show you the crazy scar where I got stabbed back in 2009.
Got stabbed in 2009.
Yeah, so it looks like it looks fucked up. I have like a giant. It looks like a giant silver line across my chest. Looks like
really.
I don't know. It looks scar tissue is weird, and since I don't have any chest hair, I just have this giant like silver line across my chest forever now.
Interesting. Okay.
Boys, we got some news. We got some news. Breaking news.
What's that?
Toys R Us. Buy one, get one 40% off. Switch games are available.
Really? So okay, so that means that you can get so if you buy one, you get 40% off. Why can't they just do 50% off? What's that about? So if you buy a $60 one, then it's essentially it's going to end up being almost $100 for 2 games, then, right? Instead of 120. Right. That's not bad. I mean, if you're doing holiday shopping anyway and you're buying in bulk, because I know a little while ago, Target I think did buy 2 get 1 free for all PS4 and Xbox One games. I'm talking like all of them, like Assassin's Creed was part of it and everything, which wasn't bad. But
yeah,
that's not terrible. Yeah, no, they didn't do any Switch games. They did some 3DS games, I think, but it was like so like $95 will get you 2 Switch games that are brand new. So like you get Mario Kart and Mario Odyssey for like $95. Then it's a good deal, I think.
You can also use it on Skyrim. I don't know if Doom. I don't see Doom listed.
Oh, you can use it on games that aren't even out yet.
Yeah, you can pre-order and get 40% off. So
that just got interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and.
Someone asked how you got stabbed, Max. How did that happen? How did that transpire?
I think it was a failed mugging. I was. Oh
wow, jeez.
I was with
I don't know, man. You got stabbed.
Well, no. So what? No, as in like it's called a failed mugging if somebody asks you for something and you don't participate to their satisfaction. And I got in an argument with my friend at a bar, and I lived like basically like a mile away. So I was like, no, screw you. I live a mile from here. I'm just going to walk home. Peace. And so I walked out, and some dude ended up coming out of the bushes about halfway down my trip. And, so there was like an apartment complex, and it was surrounded. They had this weird thing in Dallas specifically where a lot of the apartments are surrounded by bushes to absorb the sounds of like highways and stuff. So he came out of the bushes, and he walked up and said, give me your wallet. And I didn't understand him because he mumbled it. So I said, what? And he stabbed me in the chest. So,
wow, jeez.
Yeah, not a great.
Hey, look, we got that was quick. It's 6:01 now. All you had to do was tell them about you getting stabbed, and apparently you get likes.
That's the likes.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're gonna get 700 or anything.
Evan just testing the market.
All right, I'm taking off my shirt. Well, I'm glad there's only 8 minutes left. Let me stand up for a sec.
Turn the children away.
So yeah,
now we're just looking.
It ends up being 95.98. So
that's not bad. That's not bad for 2 games.
I wish they had more pre-order shit.
I'm sure we'll even show how I'm gonna like get this camera close to my freaking crappy ass chest. Oh gosh.
Whoa, jeez.
I'm not sure that shows up. Maybe I have too much brightness on. Let me try and turn one of my giant ass heat lamps away, so it makes my skin look like white as hell. There we go. Let's see if you can see some of the shadowing of my mustache.
Well, you're actually like highlighted now, so it won't change. But
there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah. Wow. Geez, did he like cut like slash you kind of?
Yes. Yeah. It went in like sideways. Yeah.
Jeez. Did he just get away, or did they catch him?
No. He was just some random guy. I didn't know what to do. What really sucks is I was so broke at the time. I couldn't even go to the hospital. I literally went home, and my roommates patched me up because I was like working at Target at the time. So I went home, and they literally packed it with Neosporin and put duct tape across my chest to hold it closed. And what really sucks about getting a wound that deep is it itched like inside my chest for about 3 years. Like as it healed, literally you could feel the tissue basically knitting itself together inside my chest for about 3 years.
I still itch my thumb occasionally. I don't know if John, you were at the store when I almost like cut the side of my thumb clean down, like, and had half of it just hanging off.
Yeah,
still itches.
All right. So, are there any other questions or anything before we wrap up here?
Last week, Nintendo said that they were going to aim for 2018 to be non-traditional IP year. What we thinking? Because I'm thinking Custom Robo and Golden Sun.
Golden Sun could be good. They could roll in with Golden Sun pretty easily.
Yeah, man, I would love to see Golden Sun. But I think in that same interview, they basically said that it may be just totally weird left field stuff. So it could just be
what Eggerland on the Switch.
Is it possible that they do like a horror game? Like, do you think they bring back something like Eternal Darkness?
They should.
I think horror is a strong bet, but I don't think it's going to be anything we've ever heard of before. I think it's just going to be something totally new. Like, because I mean, Splatoon has been such a big success for them. I think they're feeling a lot braver about throwing new IP out there.
Oh, that'd be interesting if they try again. Because ARMS, I think, was successful enough for them to try something else. Like new, because ARMS, I would consider ARMS non-traditional, obviously.
Yeah.
They do something, you think, kind of like that, just in a different genre.
Yeah. It's going to be called Legs. It's going to be.
I mean, ARMS sold over 1 million in like 2 weeks, didn't it?
Yeah, that's enough for a first-party developer because they get all of the money. They published and developed it. They don't have to split it. So that they get all of the money for that. So to them, that was probably a success. And Nintendo is definitely a company that will try over and over again with one. They know it's not going to happen instantly. Like, I think there are some companies that are just they're so impatient with some of these IPs. Like, it's not like Mario was built yesterday, right?
So much that like after a game gets released for like half a year, the company just gets shut down. Yeah, no, I'm there. I'm there with you.
I think that some companies they're just not, I think, patient enough with some of these stuff.
Ooh, somebody brought up something interesting that dock, the Nyko projector dock.
Oh my God, I need that in my life.
Yeah, that looks real interesting. I only glanced at it. I didn't even watch their Kickstarter video, but just reading their description is incredibly interesting.
Wait, is that the one that lights up? No, I'm talking about the PDP one. That's the one I want. I don't know what the other thing is.
Oh, I think that maybe I'm mixing people up, but I thought somebody was producing has a Kickstarter going for a projector where it's like a dock that actually like shines on the wall.
What?
Yeah, like I'm 99% positive it's a custom dock they're making because apparently the image port on the bottom of the Switch is real universal. So they're setting it up so that it'll make it where when you put it in there, instead of sending out an HDMI signal, it'll send out a projector signal.
Oh, hey, look.
Yeah, John, I guess hit the escape on his browser or something.
Yeah.
So now this is under new management.
This is the Dream Podcast. God damn it! I don't have to wear a shirt. Everybody go subscribe to Dreamcast Guy. I took off my damn shirt. And for everyone asking, my tattoo says "So it goes." It's a quote from my favorite book.
And then when you're done subscribing to Dreamcast Guy, go hit up RGT85. Oh, hey, he's back. Hey, hi.
I don't know what happened. Something happened with YouTube for me. It like exploded on me. I thought my internet connection dropped and Comcast was being Comcast, but YouTube just stopped working for me for a minute for some reason.
Unfortunately, SpawnWave, everybody in chat voted. This is my podcast now. It's the Dream Podcast.
Yeah. Dude, you're the co-host. Did you take over?
For 45 seconds. I immediately ripped my shirt off, lit a torch, and went, "Who is it?"
That's great. Well, I guess I came back just in time to call it. But I will say this, guys. I picked out a stream to raid real quick before we go. We'll do it on the way out. So I'll drop the stream in the comments, and we're gonna raid somebody who I think had kind of a tough week this past week. I know, Max, you know who Sid Alpha is, right?
Yeah, man, he's been getting hit up hard.
He had kind of a tough week with some developers and everything, and they were coming after him and all this stuff for him kind of shining a light, kind of like what I was doing with fans, but he gets a little more intimate with them, trying to rip people off. So he had kind of a tough week. So I thought we would help him out and raid his stream all at once for fun. So we'll do that soon. But let's go around real quick. Sean, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on RGT85. Doing all sorts of stuff. I got a More Fight review up that I just put up today. I've done a bunch of videos. I've actually been off work because I have company in town. My lady friend came from Vegas, so we've been hanging out and just watching movies and playing video games because that's the kind of shit she likes to do, which is why this works out fine. So yeah, there's a bunch of videos on the channel, a bunch of videos coming. Over on Nintendo Enthusiast, you can read my This is the Police review and mediocre game. And yeah, just be on the lookout. More stuff coming this week.
Cool. Very good, man. Very good. And then Max, where can they find you, man?
Dreamcast Guy on YouTube, Twitter, and everything else. Definitely subscribe if you haven't already, because this Sonic Forces review is
that's going to be fun.
If you don't
fire that spicy review.
Yeah, definitely get there to see the comment section, because I'm sure it's going to be everybody telling me how I don't know Sonic.
I like the dedication, by the way, not putting your shirt back on.
I honestly felt too awkward to put it back on at this point. I was like, let's just blend in.
And then Evan, you're Kimmerix Games, right?
Kimmerix Games, which hasn't really been moving right now. So just follow me on Twitter or Twitch or something. That's where I usually do most of my stuff. Or just keep following Spawn Wave. Bi-weekly is actually what we decided for the Esports Wave on Sundays. So I'm looking forward to that next week. I believe is going to be our next episode of that. I know a lot of people don't really follow esports, so that's why we're limiting it down. But some people actually want to find out about that stuff. So
guys, I'm dropping the stream in a chat right now for who to go raid. Go show him some love. Sid Alpha, he had a hard week and everything. So I think he has like 67 people watching him now. So why don't you jump that up a little bit and go say hi and tell him that Spawn sent you. Thanks guys for watching tonight. Every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Come by, watch us talk about video games and all that good stuff. I'll drop it in the chat a few more times. But thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.